I'm okay with it.
Look, I'm okay with it this time of year. When people are like, "Oh, it's good for for things in this." No, it's not in the summer. Stop. Summer is not for rain. We have 6 months of it.
Okay,
8 months of it for being serious.
this may be my Oregonian coming out. Big fan of summer. A summer rain. A summer rain. Like a day. Like no. A couple of hours of summer rain. Big fan of that. Days of summer rain? Nope. You can leave, but give me a good like summer thunderstorm. I'm in. I'm so in on a thunderstorm in the summer. Great. Probably not the best for the fires, but big fan of them. And like that smell. You know what I'm talking about? Like a summer rain.
Oh yeah, no,
that first rain for a while.
No.
Yeah, and it smells like pavement. Like sweaty pavement, I guess is the term that I would.
Sweaty pavement, is that a punk band?
Ooh,
yeah.
That's a really good punk band name.
Yeah.
I mean, there already is pavement, but
There's
an actual name for that smell. I can never remember what it is. I'm sure the text line will get it. Yeah. Yeah, it's something to do with like the petroleum.
Got a word for everything.
Yeah, I mean that's what we do. There's a word for the rain hitting.
petrichor.
That's it. Yeah.
Petrichor?
Yeah.
Petrichor.
I'm in.
It's the mixture of the rain and the petroleum products in the road.
I enjoy that. I enjoy that smell. It's probably. I wonder if that's linked to me liking the smell of gasoline as a kid.
100%. Yeah, no.
When I was a kid, windows down at the gas station.
Explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
Dusty the gas heifer.
as a kid,
You don't know me.
I think I do.
has it stopped?
Yeah, I don't enjoy it quite as much. It's not leaded gas anymore.
Fair. Also, it's like anything else. Once you do it enough times, it's not. You're no longer getting that high anymore.
It is. This is like a big change. Is that remember you used to have to ask for unleaded gas. Now it's just regular.
Yeah.
Regular.
You need to move on to like some JP8. You need some jet fuel.
Some jet fuel in my vehicle.
Yeah.
What would happen if I did that?
For you to smell it.
Oh, to smell?
Yeah.
What's that? Is that good?
Yeah.
All right. I got a connection.
a little scratch on the lip. Is it good?
I got a connection. I got a connection in the jet fuel industry.
Yeah, see, the leaded is your gateway gas. That's what it is.
First taste is always free.
Yeah.
What happens though? Like I just am a regular gas guy because I don't have a car nice enough to put anything better in.
Mm-hmm.
What happens like if you why
what? Nicer gas?
Yeah. I don't even know this. Like this is not. I don't. These are questions I have.
You need to run like more refined gas to. Oh God, my dad's got a 66 Nova that he's rebuilding. It's got a giant turbo on it, and if he runs like the highest street gas on it, you get a lower output on like horsepower. If he's running race gas, you can get a better output.
Okay.
So you burn more efficiently.
Okay.
So that's the big thing. It also keeps your engine cleaner.
Oh.
So you don't get as many particles.
Okay.
The buildup.
Yeah. Me and cars.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. I think
know much about them.
I think they ran the dyno on the build for my dad, and it was like something like 750 horse.
Really?
On like the 92, and then on the ethanol it was like just short of 900.
Okay.
So
that is Spanish that you just spoke. That means nothing
it goes,
to me.
It has
I press pedal, it go vroom.
Yeah, so basically it's the difference between being
we own a hybrid in our home.
This is like the difference between like having a 10-second or 11-second quarter mile and like a sub 10-second quarter mile car.
All right. This is like I am the reason why Teslas are like going to be taking over is because I don't know anything about them. I don't know anything about cars. Like do I know how to drive stick shift? I do know that.
Okay,
do I know?
That's better than most people.
First four cars.
Watching somebody try to drive a stick that doesn't know how to do it is physically painful. Like,
it does hurt.
It makes my skin crawl.
But I can't fix an engine. I can't do that.
I would say we're probably the last generation of people who have any chance of that.
Yeah.
Because on cars these days, they're making it more and more difficult to work on things like that yourself.
It's a complete pain now. Like on brand new cars, changing number one, you can't get under brand new cars.
Yeah.
Like there's no space, like with all the ground effects kits and how they stuff stuff in there. Secondly, like you can't just get underneath a lot of cars and just pull an oil plug anymore. Like, that's not a thing. Like, you need to have a lift so you can get underneath there, and then you have to remove 8 different things to get to it. Like, old days, like, if you have, like, a 72 Chevy pickup, you slide underneath there, and you unscrew.
Changing your I have.
Have you changed your own oil?
I have changed my own oil before.
On the hybrid?
But no, God, no.
On the electric?
No. Well, electric, you don't have oil.
There
but
you go.
hybrids, you do.
I wanted to see.
There is a big one there. The big difference between electric and hybrid. But I have changed my oil before, but I give up because there's too many things to remove now. It's worth just take my money. Take my money. It's not worth my time anymore. But that's like one thing that I'll want to do. It's like, I think that there's a list of things that you should teach your kid how to do, but it's becoming harder and harder to do that now. Like changing the oil. Can't do it anymore. All right. Hey, here's the people that know what they're talking about. I knew it just took a little bit. Better fuel efficiency, maximize your horsepower, less fuel consumption. Pros of premium gasoline. Huh.
Yeah,
if you go on a road trip, use super gasoline. You'll go more miles than you will on regular gas. Also helps in explanation. I don't know what that means. In explanation. I don't know. I'm gone on that.
You lost on that one?
Yeah, I'm lost
It
on
happens.
that one.
But yeah, basically, you burn more efficiently, you get better gas mileage, you get more horsepower.
Yeah.
But you're also paying like $1 more a gallon now.
It's really spendy.
Dumb expensive. I can't remember where I saw the sign flipping back and forth at a stoplight like 3 days ago, and premium was like $5.37 a gallon. I went, what?
$5.37?
Yeah, I was blown away. I was like, I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what.
Well, some of these gas stations are up and down I-5, man. They will gouge the living hell out of you.
They sure will. Yeah. Yeah, they sure will. I was driving up I-5 when I was going up to Seattle for the Ducks Husky game.
Oh, God. You didn't get gas in Washington, did you?
I had to at one point, but it was I was sitting there and I was looking at it and I went off the highway because one thing about these new cars, they'll tell you where the cheapest gas is. It's fantastic. You have to go off the highway a little bit.
Yeah.
But on College Game Day, like a big thing was made of Joel McHale. He made fun of, people from Oregon not pumping their own gas, which, joke's on you, we pump our own gas now.
Although I got gas yesterday and I said,
if you want to.
Well, it
It's
depends.
a choice.
It's a choice.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of gas
My
stations.
gas, my choice. I get to choose my gas.
I'm noticing a lot of gas stations that are making it not a choice.
Oh, really?
They just don't.
Just
go
nobody's
out.
there anymore.
Yeah, I watched a
Oh,
woman.
no, they're supposed to have.
Oh,
yeah,
I know.
like,
They're
that's
supposed
part of the
to.
law. They're required.
I watched a woman sit there who was clearly
I
terrified.
don't mind that. This guy the guy who slow plays it, like he's inside, he's inside the convenience store and he's like
Working on some
walking as slow as he
Uh-huh.
can. Like eventually they'll just do it themselves. And then you got to play hardball with them and just say, no, I am in the state of Oregon. I will not pump my own gas.
I literally watched a woman do this yesterday. I sat there, got out of my car, pumped my gas. She was there before me, and she just sat there, and I just watched her look around, just endlessly looking around, waiting for the person to come out.
Yeah, good for her.
I
Wait him
left.
out.
I left. She could still be there.
Yeah. As long as she's not waiting in a line,
Well,
I'm good with it.
It was at the Flying J in Donald.
sure,
So
yeah.
it's that massive gas station.
I've been there.
And
They got a Cinnabon.
they got all kinds of stuff. They have a food cart center that is sprung up next to it. Like there's 8 food carts across the street now. I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah, you
But-
can take a shower there and everything.
You can find you some lot lizards too.
Ugh. Oh man. But okay, back to Washington. The joke's on them though, because gas was more expensive and they're pumping it themselves in Washington. Like you crossed the river and it was like
Suckers.
$5.15 a gallon. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa.
I think they have in the continental U.S. I think they have the highest tax rate on gas now.
Really?
Oregon's super close.
Yeah, we're not that far off.
Oregon, Washington, California, Hawaii are super high. Alaska is not because they have oil.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
there's your hot gas talk.
yeah. Also, I get bamboozled by this sometimes too. The board that flips where you're like, ooh, ooh, gas is cheap. And then you go to pay with card and you're like, oh, the cash and the card are different.
Yeah, the
I
thing is,
avoid
like,
those places like the plague.
yeah,
They
those
get
places.
ya.
It's weird. Number one, because they
Why
get,
do they do that?
because you get charged for
Yeah,
credit card transactions.
But it's not to the tune of like 10
10
cents
cents a
per
gallon.
gallon.
Yeah, it's like a 3-cent charge.
Yeah, but also, what's really interesting.
We're
about
fighting
that,
the good fight today.
Damn right.
We're gonna
Car manufacturers,
we're-
gas prices.
we're
Hey,
gonna
let's
go-
tackle airlines.
We're gonna go full commerce analysis
Yeah,
here.
Danny and Dusty Consumer Reports.
Yeah.
You want to
It's
fix
interesting
schools
be-
next?
Well, I mean, if I went to Burt the other night, right at the Moda.
Yeah.
This is something that's happening in metropolitan cities everywhere. It's cashless there.
Yeah.
It's entirely cashless. So you're still getting these places that run these cash discounts, and it's like we're moving like a cashless society at the same time. It's like this weird juxtaposition of like, no, you should still carry cash. Also, we won't take it to the place you're going to.
Yeah, last week at the Great Wolf Lodge, cashless.
It's like
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
super convenient,
I
but
love paying
also
in cash.
They got the
very
little
weird.
chip in your bracelet, which is your room key, and you can also use that to charge stuff to your
So
room.
places you can use cash, gas stations and strip clubs.
Yeah.
Where else?
Sounds about right.
Where?
Well, you know, liquor stores.
I mean, I was
And there are a lot.
yeah. I will say also
Laundromats.
in other transactions,
You can use cards too. In other drug deals? Is that what you're talking
other
about?
transactions,
Even most vending machines now are card.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
I cannot tell you the last time I used a vending machine. I don't remember.
Hotels usually. For me,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have no idea. My wheels are spinning. I'm honestly.
The bigger the city, and
Gotta head down the hall and get a
the
chaser
bigger the
for the Tito's.
location, the less likely you are to be able to use cash.
the wait, what?
The bigger the city and the bigger the location,
Yeah.
like the more new it is, the
Yeah.
less likely they are to take cash. Super weird.
I remember going
The
down.
dodgier the place, the more likely they want cash.
I remember going down to the like Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And they have like all the little stands there. And I remember I was going to buy something and I was like, oh, do you take card? And the guy goes, plastic is fantastic. And I was like, nope, I'm not using my card here. You are.
We're stealing your credit card numbers and selling them.
I was like, no, cash it is. Oh, man. All right. There we go. We covered a lot of bases
There you
here.
go. I like it.
I'm glad where this show started.
Yeah.
Covered my pain. Covered my pain.
Mm.
Actually, it wasn't that painful. Game 7 last night didn't hurt.
Mm.
It's like when you lose, you'd want to lose like that.
Yeah.
Like when you just get bludgeoned over the head
Mm.
early, and then you just get mad at a series of mistakes. Like Dusty Baker, Dusty Baker with the all-time move of absolutely blowing a Game 7 and then retiring afterwards. Like, damn, I can't be mad at you.
I don't have to deal with this. Yeah.
I can't be mad at you anymore.
To be fair, he basically told you it was coming. The guy's 0 for 3 in his career in Game 7s before last night. So make that 0 for 4.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
The best part about this is Jeff is doing this while he's like looking down at his nails.
You know where you better be watching? Your back. You son of a.
Not like they were. There's any kind of foresight about kind of foreshadowing that could be here.
What the hell is going on? If anybody could have seen this, yeah. I felt this one was coming. I saw this one was coming, and now everybody's taking their victory laps. So, go ahead, y'all. Take those victory laps.
Nah,
go watch the Texas Rangers
We're not going to do that to you here.
in the World Series. Phillies and Diamondbacks Game 7 tonight.
Indeed.
NBA opening night tonight.
Indeed.
Where are your eyes going to be? Danny and Dusty on the Fan.
Seahawks football
Real life.
Oh, really?
Musician, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's I think he was in a band that like people would know, and it's surprising. I've already forgotten about it though. This is something I looked up like a decade ago, and that has already like just gone in one ear out the other. I had to remove a lot of things from my memory, and that's one of them. Is what band Creed from The Office was in, but he was. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Hey, that was a YouTube stream. All of a sudden, the audio just kicked on my computer. Right. Look at that. Hey, we're here.
We are
on YouTube.com/1080 AM The Fan.
Indeed.
You can join a Rufio-dominated comments.
Indeed.
I mean, he gets in there. He gets in there.
Just keeps him off the text line.
Woof. Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? You can be a part of the text line. Vancouver Ford text line 503-864-6326. Creed the band they're taking over the world.
It's the rallying cry of the Texas Rangers.
Yeah. It is. It is. Game 7 last night of the ALCS. That stupid band is going to be playing in the clubhouse of the Rangers. And
they went higher last night.
Look, this is on the Texas Rangers fan base. Like, I hope you all are aware, if you win the World Series, that now you have to live with Creed forever.
Oh, no, they have to live with a great band forever.
Is it?
I'm sorry, record scratch? What?
They're good.
Are you serious?
Quit acting like Creed and Nickelback aren't good. You don't sell that many records if you're bad.
No, Nickelback. I didn't say anything about Nickelback. Nickelback sells way more than Creed.
Oh, buddy. You sure about that?
Uh-huh. Yes. 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 Come on now.
Ooh, we're gonna
go ahead and look it up. I don't know. No. They're like and this is the thing, is that those bands, they were very, very popular early 2000s through 2010-ish. Sold a lot of music. Very generic music. You know what they are? They're Imagine Dragons of 20 years ago, right? Oof. Where it all kind of sounds the same. All of it sounds the same. And then you sit there and you go, okay, you keep on churning it out for your very loyal fan base, which more power to them. That is awesome. But you want to live with that on your championship, like the highlight reel forever, is that you're stuck with Creed, man. At least the Angels went and they did the Rally Monkey. Rally Monkey's cute. He's adorable. He's always going to be a part of the Angels lore forever. Okay? But like Creed, man, you have Dirty Water for the Red Sox. That is awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Creed outsold Nickelback.
No, they didn't.
They did.
No. What, on one album?
Top albums of all time and overall.
Okay. Now I have a feeling that you're Dannying this, and you're going to find your Danny stats. Really?
I've gone through like 3 different things now.
Really?
Yes.
50 million albums sold for Nickelback. Let's see here.
Creed has sold over 28 million records in the U.S., 53 million worldwide.
Yeah. All right. So they're about the same then, because 50 million albums, having sold more than 50 million albums worldwide for Nickelback. So they're about the same?
Sounds about right.
And they kind of all sound the same?
The actual rock list has it as Nickelback at 24 and Creed at 35.
At what?
So that sounds like they're looking at like U.S. sales then, maybe.
Yeah. Sure. So they're about the same band, which more power to you. If you like Nickelback or you like Creed, go ahead.
But that's
all their music sounds the same.
That's entirely fine. But everybody's like, oh, they suck. Nobody likes them. I'm like, clearly
no, a lot of
like them.
No,
a lot of people like them. It doesn't mean they don't suck. I mean, Jay Leno was a thing for a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is my point before you guys went on the pinning me down to nobody likes them. Didn't say that. I was just saying, the Rangers, you're going to have to live with Creed the rest of your franchise existence.
Honestly, it's better than Sweet Caroline.
Okay. Look, now we're just getting silly.
No. The song sucks. It
oh
sucks.
My God.
No,
it sucks.
I quit.
No. No.
You know
who you're in a corner with? Here, let's go to Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins.
And I got to say it, Creed. I'm getting my ankles taped pregame because I try to get them taped as late as possible, and I'm sitting there on the table, and suddenly it comes on. We go to pray in the corner of the locker room with any guys that want to pray, and so we had to turn the Creed off, and Harrison Smith made a great point. He said, guys, this is the prayer. they keep playing higher, and I'm going, Creed has a lot of hits. They got a good catalog. We don't have to only play higher, but they're taking us higher, so we'll take it.
Enjoy Creed and Kirk
God
Cousins,
dang it.
Danny.
Reap what you sow, dude.
That's probably a Creed song too. Kirk has to ruin everything.
Yeah, including what should have been a good 3-2 week. For
That's
him.
that's a Dabo name, image,
Yeah.
and likeness of the Lord.
Yeah. This
Quote.
is what you have to live with for eternity, though, Rangers fans, and nobody wants that. This isn't a conversation about whether or not people enjoy Creed or Nickelback, because for some reason people do. But Rangers fans, you will always be linked to Creed, and
Have
you
you-
don't want that.
Have you been to Arlington?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Several times.
And
you don't.
They
and
want,
the people
they want that.
you don't want that.
They want that.
And this Mariner fan is saying, I'd sign up for the entirety of Oasis, Hanson, or any other 90s rock band if it meant a title. Yeah, you say that now. You say that now.
What's the crappiest band that you'd be willing to sacrifice for being named to your team if it won a World Series?
Creed. And again, they like people like them, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it at all.
Lots of people have bad taste.
Oh.
You don't want it to be attached to your fan base forever, though.
Everclear.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, we know this about the city of Portland.
I enjoy Everclear.
The city,
I've seen Everclear in concert.
Bayou New House on the West Hills.
Yeah.
Art Alakakis, man. If we know this about Portland,
What was that again?
Art.
Art-
What?
what's his name?
Alexakis.
Alakakis is what I said. I don't know what his name is.
Art Alexakis.
Alexakis?
Yes.
Portland's going to be attached to a crappy.
Art Alakakis is a great
Yeah.
name.
Portland will be absolutely 100% tied to a horrible band. You know that.
Oh God, yes.
When and we'll have to go through it forever. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you right now.
Oh, come on. They'd find something cheeky like the Dandy Warhols or something.
Or Portugal the Man.
You don't want to be married to Creed forever. Okay? But like Portugal the Man and the Dandy Warhols may be so far out of the purview that you're like,
Oh, no.
okay.
An Apple
People-
commercial will come back.
Like people literally have never heard of these bands before. But Creed, like everybody knows, but it's like, yeah, don't like it. Don't like it.
Honestly, I want them to do the Super Bowl halftime show again.
Who did?
Creed.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they did the Thanksgiving Day.
What was it, Thanksgiving?
It was the
Oh,
Cowboys
that's right. It was
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving.
Day.
That's right. It's Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah. And that was
That was an epic performance. Oh, you don't want to see people flying from the ceiling again?
see, this is what
Yeah.
see, even you know where we're at right
It
now.
was great.
Oh
It
man.
was great.
Ooh, see, like this one, you asked the worst band, Poison, Warrant, or Winger.
Oh, Poison's fine.
Like you did, but
I've
those
seen
ones,
Poison in concert too, with Def Leppard.
those
Again,
ones would be
Those
great.
be fine.
That
Those
was at
would
the
be
State Fair.
great bands to have you're attached
Yeah.
to, right?
You could be Miami Heat and you could have Seven Nation Army endlessly playing on a loop.
Is that what they do? That's what Penn State does
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, Miami's the one
Which
that
one is that?
bum bum bum
That-
bum
okay,
bum.
that's what I
bum.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You had that playing in your head every freaking night.
all day long.
Good Lord.
All right. Well, this got to a conversation that we didn't know that it was going
Yeah,
to.
that's an entire segment up. There you go.
Nickelback and Creed. Good luck, Rangers.
Mm.
What are the Phillies? They've got to have a song. And I bet you, like, if we went and we looked up like the song that the Phillies have,
Well, it's probably something Rocky related.
and it will fit.
It's probably something Rocky related.
Yeah, and you'll like it.
Yeah.
All right. What do they got? What are you looking? Oh, Dancing on My Own.
Dancing on my own, yeah.
I'm gonna have to hear that.
Mm.
Hey, that leads us to a question. We're gonna put a poll up at Danny and Dusty. Where will your eyes be tonight? It is the opening night of the NBA tonight. we will have our we'll dive in and give our all too early projections of what is going to happen this year in the NBA season. Which team's going to come out of the gate looking like $1 million and then fall flat on their face, and which teams are going to be good throughout the course of this season. Where will your eyes be tonight, though? Game 7 of the NLCS, Phillies Diamondbacks, or opening night of the NBA? You can go and vote, or maybe Conference USA football. No, nobody's going to be watching that. But I won't. I won't even. No. I'll tell you where my eyes will be. That after Rust with SportsCenter. NBA's opening night tonight. The NBA season gets underway as only the NBA can with 2 games. 2 games.
Call that a soft launch.
It is a soft launch. Well, then is it the hard launch tomorrow when everybody plays except for the teams that played tonight? Because that's what we get tonight on TNT. You got the double dip. Lakers at the defending world champion Nuggets at 4:30. 7 o'clock, you got the Suns visiting the Warriors. All Western Conference getting underway tonight. And then you have Game 7 of the NLCS. Diamondbacks, Phillies. 5 o'clock on the Superstation, TBS. Where are your eyes going to be, Mr. Meringue?
I'm watching NBA.
You're watching the NBA tonight.
I'll have a side TV going up for the NLCS.
Your side piece?
Yeah, I've got the nice little 3-monitor setup, so I'll have it all going.
Oh, you will.
But I'll be focusing on the NBA.
So where will your eyes be on the third monitor? Will it be like maybe that 4:30 kick between Liberty and Western Kentucky? Undefeated Liberty, by the way.
I'll probably have some stat system running on that.
Yeah. Somehow you're gonna miss Western Kentucky
Yeah,
Liberty.
I think I'll miss. Oh, but wait, they're showing the helmets tonight, aren't they?
Is that tonight?
I think.
Yeah, they are.
Ooh, I'll peek in.
Western Kentucky's got
6 different helmets.
Red the Hilltopper.
Yeah.
And every position group will have a different decal on their helmet of their mascot, big red blob.
One of them looks mildly troublesome.
Definitely phallic in nature.
For sure.
I believe that is the running back and linebackers helmets.
There's a cut to the jib there. That's a little.
Yeah.
I don't know how that got through QC.
Or
they've got a cool QC.
A little risque. You want to get eyes on Tuesday Night Football? Maybe you're going to go ahead and throw that out there. But we have NBA tonight and Major League Baseball. My eyes are going to be that Game 7, even though last night was an absolute disaster of a game. And like I had my team playing in it. Game 7 always gets my attention. And it would have, like if tonight's game was last night competing with Monday Night Football, I would have had on the big screen a Game 7. As it was, I had Monday Night Football on my computer, and holy smokes, we need to talk about that because that was something that we saw from the 49ers. A lot of blame being put on Brock Purdy, rightfully so.
Yep.
But man, there were some blunders in that game that were head scratchers, and that tight game luck going back the Vikings' way. But the great thing about it is you have the ability to change the channels, and this is the best time of year.
Oh, from the second week of October until the first week in November, it is the best part of the sporting calendar.
Yeah,
hands down.
Yeah,
I will not be swayed on that. You get NHL underway, NBA underway, Major League Baseball playoffs, into the World Series. NFL is in full swing. College football is in full swing. There is no better time in the sports calendar.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, everything is going on for a 2.5-week period, and there's real stakes involved because in the NFL, you're not quite at the halfway point, but you're starting to sort some stuff out. In college football, you are at the halfway point, and things are really starting to get heated up. You've obviously got World Series, and then NHL and NBA, you kind of get a nice little taste of what's to come.
Little bit. Yeah, how cool is that? Game 7, which is the most important, means there's finality to whatever's happening in that sport. And Game 1, quite literally Game 1 of the NBA season. The Lakers are on the road at the defending world champion Nuggets. And like as this texter on the Vancouver Forward text line says, maybe I'm corny, but I'm super excited for LeBron's season 21. LeBron's NBA career can drink. Damn.
That's pretty wild, right? I mean, it's older than Scoot Henderson has been alive.
Yeah. That is crazy to think about, though. Like, there are people that will be able to drink alcohol that have never lived without LeBron James in the NBA. That's a crazy statistic that's just floated out there. And he'll be in action tonight because it's Game 1. You're not going to be load managing Game 1 yet.
No, not only that, LeBron James is quite literally the oldest player in the NBA now. And this has got to be the first time in my life that the oldest player in any sport is also still a top 10-ish player in their sport?
No, Tom Brady. Tom Brady was the oldest player in the NFL.
Was he the oldest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the oldest player in the NFL.
I thought we had a kicker that was still older.
he held out, and he still was the best.
Well,
Tom Brady was
Was he
great.
the best?
Won a Super Bowl his second to last year. I would say so.
Yeah, but was he the best?
Yeah. Tom Brady.
Mm,
I
okay.
mean, you could sit there and you could say
He beat-
Mahomes.
He put,
was,
yeah, as I say,
but
it's Mahomes.
are
right?
you? I mean,
He put up. I mean, don't get me wrong. Brady put up crazy numbers that year. I want to say he was like 4,400 yards.
Tom Brady was third in passing and threw for 4,700 yards. Completed 67% of his passes.
So basically, Brady and LeBron
I
are
would
on
say
all
so.
of the good drugs.
And the 2021 season, he led the league in passing, threw for 5,300 yards, 43 touchdowns, and completed 67.5% of his passes. I mean, that's pretty good.
And we still didn't have an older kicker in there, huh?
No.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was, look, he lasted as long as he could.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? We all like to say that.
But hold on. I think the roundabout way in this conversation, though, is that LeBron James and Tom Brady, we're seeing greatness in two different sports in it coming to an end. And just as like Brady, like we appreciating it as it's leaving, because you don't know, like the next guy's going to come along and they're going to try to hype it up. But you don't know if Patrick Mahomes is ever going to reach the titles that Tom Brady was able to achieve, or the yardage marks. And we're talking about the all-time leading passer in NFL history, the guy who's won more Super Bowl than most franchises could dream of winning. And LeBron James is the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. Like, these guys were concurrently playing for 20 years.
Yeah. We do not, I think, appreciate longevity for what we really should in sports, especially when it gets this sideways.
We knock compilers.
Yeah, and it's like, this isn't like hanging on by a thread. This is LeBron James quite literally being a top 10 player his entire career.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Like, he started to show a little bit of signs of some cracks last year of, like, the groin is becoming more and more of an issue, the back, the knee, like, it's like, yeah, dog, you're going to be 39 in 2 months.
Yeah.
That's how this happens.
Yep.
But for him to be as, like, he's still 25, 7 and 7. Like, we're like, oh, LeBron's losing it. And it's like, he's losing it to the tune of, like, being what we would normally consider like an MVP caliber campaign.
Isn't that crazy?
Look, I am not a LeBron is better than Michael Jordan guy, like rah-rah, but I do believe he is.
He's pretty good.
Just because of like the longevity of it all, what he's able to do on both sides, how impactful he has been, the teams he has carried. Like, it's like, oh, he's lost in the finals. I'm like, yeah, but he was in the finals for 9 straight years.
9.
Like, do we
9
not? Do we not like? Do we understand how like? There's not a player in the league that wouldn't kill to be there once, and he was backpacking teams there for essentially a decade.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Guys like Boobie Gibson, he was
the ghost
dragging.
of the ghost of Zydrunas Ilgauskas.
Yeah,
like it's.
Oh, Big Z, I love Big Z.
Look, I did too, but like
Anderson Varejao.
You look at those teams and you still like you think, oh, that's right, that was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it's such an insane thing. So that's why I'll have my eyes on the NBA, because there's a very strong possibility. LeBron keeps hinting like, he's going to play with Bronny,
Yeah.
His body may just be like,
not anymore.
Nope. And
Not
so
anymore.
like I always want to make sure I watch the greats when we can.
Okay. So you're going to be watching the NBA?
I am.
My eyes will be on the MLB postseason Game 7 NLCS against between the Philadelphia Phillies and Arizona Diamondbacks. Right now, the poll is up at Danny and Dusty on Twitter. NBA opening night, 57% of the vote. Phillies Diamondbacks Game 7, 42% of the vote. All right, let's dive into Monday Night Football last night before we get into all things sport in NBA and college football. We got a lot of college football today, too. But Monday Night Football, we saw Brock Purdy is actually human. Danny and Dusty on the Fan. Prime Time with Isaac and Suk. That Danny, you are a man that you get food delivered here every day. Daily.
Not every day, but pretty frequently.
I'd say about
three out of 5 days a week.
Yeah, I'd say 3 days a week.
Yeah, I'd say
right.
I was gonna say 80%.
Yeah.
80%.
60%.
No, I would say 60.
Yeah.
I would say 80.
That's
I
not.
would go 4 or 5.
I can pull the receipts.
Okay, but it's often you get that
I
the food
chicken and
delivered.
rice. Typically, I get the chicken and rice.
Yes,
but
you do.
my go-to spot has
Sometimes it's lamb.
yes, which you love.
It smells terrible, but it looks delicious, and I'm sure it is delicious every day. But you had a food delivered today, and that food has been stolen.
Yes, we have security footage here, and I'm quite literally on the phone right now with the food delivery company, telling them that the driver took my food or put my food down and sent a picture of it.
Yep.
And because the picture came to me as we were going to break, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go grab my food.
Yeah.
And this is quite literally 30 seconds.
I saw your phone buzz. You got up.
And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna grab my food.
You left right as we went to break.
Mhm. Went out there and it's gone. I'm like, oh, Joey must have grabbed it because Joey will occasionally grab it when
he's
they.
our
when-
engineer,
when-
Joey.
When they'll call the number on the door, and it goes back there, and so he probably grabbed it. And I go, hey, did you grab this? No. I was like, that's weird. And we had one of our sales guys up front, right by the door, having a meeting. I'm like, did you see anybody? He's like, yeah, I saw somebody walk up to the door and then walk away.
A whodunit.
And then I asked Joey when after searching basically the entire building,
I can tell you're so mad right
I'm
now.
so pissed. I'm so pissed.
And it's like you're probably a little hangry too.
Oh, I am.
You're hangry and you're just like you are
Because I do intermittent
enraged
fasting,
right now.
so I haven't eaten since 7:00 last night, and so I'm hangry.
Yeah.
But I asked Joey, I'm like, I'm kind of serious. The food show's delivered at 12:18. Can you pull the security footage?
Yep.
And he came in just during the last break and says, your driver stole your food. What in the world is this?
This is not going to go well.
No, I'm quite literally
Yeah.
texting with them right now, and I just told them like they were offering me like a little discount on the food. I go, no, your driver stole my food. My food's free.
Boom. Well, this is going to be a whodunit for the ages.
Unbelievable.
I wonder how often that happens.
I've heard plenty of stories about this.
Yeah.
It's never happened to me.
Yeah. Like you hear the horror stories that are out there, just like razor blades in the candy apples, right?
The balls to do this though.
They're
like,
gonna poison your candy. Are they?
like
How often does that happen?
not only that, they're also nobody's giving away drugs. The whole like check drugs in your candy.
Well,
they're not giving you free drugs.
Well, that is something. This happened.
Except for the first time.
No, this happened like in 2018 or maybe it was 2019, and it was like 2 blocks away from where we stopped our trick-or-treating route that somebody had like meth mixed in with the Sour Patch Kids it was not good. It was not good. And luckily no kids like got it because their parents had the foresight to see open bag of Sour Patch Kids. No, not good. But that was always my thinking.
Yeah. Oh, that's why you always got to check the kids' candy before they dig in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make sure it's
Look
not
for the open ones and
the meth house 2 blocks away from where you stop trick-or-treating, apparently. But yeah, there was something like that happened. That like freaked me out. But yeah, most of the time, nobody is going to be giving away their drugs.
No.
And so you always have that fear, but there's always like these ones too with, they're just going to take your food and leave. It's
Honestly,
like,
the balls necessary to take a pic because when you get the food delivery, they go, here's the picture where we put it.
yeah.
To take the picture and then snipe the food.
Yeah. And then to just also assume that there's probably not a camera anywhere.
Somebody must have been looked at him and like, you know what? Your lunch smelled good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I want your lunch.
I bet it happens more than you think.
yeah. It was 2018. It was parents at eat meth tainted Halloween candy. Ew.
That's quite the ride. You're grinding your teeth for not the sugary reason.
Deputies conducted field tests on the gummy candy, which tested positive for the presence of methamphetamine. The candy was seized and placed into evidence. They're not sure which house they collected the Sour Patch Kids from. I have a feeling you could probably figure it out.
Yeah, no. Did you go trick-or-treating in the trailer park?
Well, it's not just no, but I mean, you know which houses you're like.
Stay away from that house, Timmy.
Look,
Yeah.
man.
You know which neighbors you're like. No.
You shouldn't judge people, but also know where you're trick-or-treating. Go to the nice neighborhoods.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you get the good drugs.
Yeah, that wasn't too far away from where I used to live. Now it's very far away from where I used to live.
If you don't think when I was growing up in California, like we lived in a very, 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 very poor neighborhood. My parents threw me in the car and we went like 10 miles away.
Yeah.
It was we're not trick or treating here.
Well, I want to go find the full size candy bar places, anyways. I mean, those are the honey holes.
Well, I mean, we were just settling for like the not drug, labeled candy.
Yeah. But hey, we found out it was It was in fact the driver.
It was the driver
Stealing
full
your
clue.
food. Stealing your food.
Unbelievable.
But very believable at the same time.
I'm like grind my teeth mad right now.
I hope. Well, yeah, because you're hangry.
Yes.
I hope that gal's listening right now.
No.
There's not a chance that she is,
No.
but I hope she is right now.
Yep.
Our P1s would never.
No.
We have good people listening. Well, some of you are good.
I'm currently
I bet
getting.
we got some scumbags too.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to hear what the. We're really big in the criminal demo.
Shout out the Vancouver
See
text line, though.
Danny's several admitted crimes that he is confessed to on the show.
This is a great line, though.
Yeah.
Driver drops off food. Driver hears Danny says he loves Creed. Driver goes back and punishes Danny for his life choices.
Actually, that's
That
probably true. And
Makes sense.
what if she's a big Sweet Neil Diamond fan? She loves Sweet Caroline, and she heard you say it was a terrible song.
Spit in my food.
Yeah.
Let
Not
me
on
have
my
it.
watch.
Yeah. Danny's probably the guy that microwaves fish at work.
Never. Never.
You're not an animal. You would
God,
never
no.
do that.
No.
You would never do that.
No.
Never.
Ugh.
Just lamb.
Yeah, no. Also, I wouldn't reheat it here.
Danny drives with his
Thank
brights on during the day.
Not during the day, but I've done it
At night you'll blind someone. All right. I like it. Okay, 503-864-6326. That is the Vancouver Ford text line. All right, 1 hour's in the books, and boy, we've been derailed by Creed and
We have gotten a lot done.
your food being stolen. So let's get to the NBA. NBA started. We'll have to put a pin into Monday Night Football because the 49ers lose their second straight. But coming up next hour, we start in the NBA. The season gets underway tonight. We've got a lot to get to, including the defending champions on the floor against the Los Angeles Lakers, and then a doubleheader on TNT has in the back half two teams that will be vying for that Western Conference title crown. This is Danny Dusty on The Fan. stream saw me trying to offer you I have a pop corner spicy queso, and you refused. You're going on a Gandhi-like hunger strike until you get your food.
I am. I'm hunger striking until I get my food.
Another like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it'll get here mid-show.
What if they send the same driver?
That would be fantastic.
Honestly, I hope they do.
It's like, same old route. We're just gonna send her right back to you.
I'm still kind of hungry.
It's not gonna be Alex Grinch that gets you. It's gonna be this driver. The upset of the century, right there. All right. Speaking of upsets, let's get to it. The NBA season gets underway tonight. And with Portland Trailblazers, we have to hold off. They got one more day. They're 9.5-point underdogs to the Clippers on opening night.
Yep, in LA.
Yeah. Does that matter? Do we think the Blazers would be?
No, it's weird. They're just doing a little one hopper.
Just a one game.
One game down in LA, and then they're here Friday against the Magic.
How long until that Inglewood Arena is open for the Clippers?
Next year.
Next year, yeah.
Yeah,
that seems about right.
It's almost done.
Yeah. Well, good for them.
I was gonna go down to the game, but my knee being as it is, stuffing it in a plane right now is probably not a great idea, even for a little 2-hour flight.
Oh,
so
yeah, that's not good.
No, it is what it is.
But opening night and 9.5-point dogs. I sit there and we'll talk in depth about the Blazers tomorrow. Obviously, but with their lot in the Western Conference this year, the West is going to be deep this year. It's star heavy at the top.
Well, it's not going to be deep for the Blazers because they're going to be at the bottom.
No, I know. But when you play Western Conference teams more often,
oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
it's not good. It's not a good signal for that 28. Is it still at 28.5? The over under win total.
I believe so. You know what? If you're again,
like
this is for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
The Blazers and the Spurs both have the same odds to win 35 games.
No.
Take the Spurs.
You serious, Clark?
I was having a discussion with another Portland media member about this the other day, and let me see if
you can get some good odds on the Blazers. You can get plus 50,000 for them to make the finals.
So let's see.
Lord.
It's plus 285 for the Spurs to win 35 games, and plus 750 for the Spurs to win 40. I think there's some very good value in definitely the 35 wins, and if I squint at the 40.
You're squinting at the 40.
I'm looking at that 40 like,
plus 9.5.
Do I want to throw $100 down on that? Because that's...
I'm on Blazers. I'm on the old Vegas Insider right now. And I can't find their win total for the year, but it's hovering just below 30 right now. And that kind of seems like the under maybe where they're going to hit when you look at what the Western Conference is. Because you have teams that were young last year and they are in growth, you can say. Oklahoma City, I think, is going to be not just an improved team. I think they're going to be a good team this year. The bottom of the Western Conference seems pretty clear. I think Utah is going to be improved this year. The top is, we know who the standard players are going to be. It's going to be Denver, and it's going to be the Lakers, and the Suns are going to be there at the end of the day. The Golden State Warriors are an interesting team for me as we look at this year. But when you look at just the depth of the West, you have a bunch of teams that feel like they've had their direction for a few years now.
Or in San Antonio, they're a year ahead. And
they're going to start... It's going to start paying the piper, and they're going to have these things pay off. Whereas a team like Portland, they're at the beginning of this, and this is an interesting time because really, when you look at it, what other teams in the West are in the Blazers' position right now, where they are phase one of the rebuild, the tear down mode? Because it almost seems like every other team in the West
has already been there.
Has had this direction, even like a team like Houston, which is not going to be great this year.
No, they went through 2+ years of draft picks.
They are in phase 2 of their rebuild.
Or at least phase 1.5.
Yeah, that's right. Like they're not tearing it all down to the studs.
And as much as I hate Dylan Brooks, he's a competent NBA player. I think he's self-destructive and is going to tear that team apart from the inside.
It's just a matter of time until he hits someone in the nuts.
He already did in the preseason and got suspended for it.
Well, I know that. I know
So-
that, but it's
And
it's
Van
only a
Vliet-
matter of time.
And Van Vliet will organize them in a way that they haven't been organized, which is going to be huge for them. It's the same reason why you'll see Anthony Simons kind of being the featured guy for the Trailblazers, because that organization matters. But Jalen Green, can he play off ball? Jabari Smith Jr. figuring out how to shoot. Alperen Şengün being a guy like they have. I mean, Cam Whitmore was fantastic in summer league. Tari Eason looks like he's going to be a player. Like they have a lot of young guys to sort through, but they also have a lot of young guys that have already kind of sorted through stuff. So you have a bit of a better understanding of where they're going to be. Like Jalen Green's still young, but he's going into year 3. That's very different from year 1. That's year 3 is when you start to put stuff together. That's when like, oh, that's how this works. And so, yeah, they're at least phase 1.5, where Portland is like, your most important guy that you're counting on, your one guy, and Scoot Henderson is in year 1 at 19 years old, and he just went through the preseason, and he looked bad.
And quite literally, there are no teams that are in that position in the West.
No.
None.
I mean, to be honest, there's only one other team in the league that is there, and it's the Wizards, and they're actually behind the Blazers because they don't have the young guy that they're like, yeah, this is the guy we're building with. Like, what was it? Koulibaly went number 8, and he's got he's as raw as it gets, and they're just going to force feed him minutes. But they're in this awkward spot with Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, where you're just like, this is what you're going with, huh?
Well, in their
Okay.
assets, they're not building a war chest like Portland has tried to do.
Yes.
And is really Portland's still not done moving, right? Like in the vision of Joe Cronin and what he wants to do. Eventually, Malcolm Brogdon, number 11 in your program.
Yeah, no
now.
longer number 92. He's just waiting for Kevin Knox to get waived, apparently.
That's brutal.
It's kind of cold.
Like he took 92. Like,
I'll wait.
It's okay. I'll wait this one out.
Instead of paying Kevin, he's like, I'll wait. I know it's coming.
That would have been a nice little thing for him to do to Kevin Knox. So it was like give him a little cash on the
Cut
way
him
out,
a couple stacks.
Eventually, Brogdon is part of a bigger move that where they can down the road at some point this season.
Perhaps Jeremy Grant, perhaps Time Lord.
And then you start looking at, all right, now you have a legitimate war chest that you're working with.
And in
with
those
Portland.
cases, like you have the Steven Adams injury in Memphis, and let's say that Memphis calls, that changes some things.
There's a team that I want to talk to you about.
Mhm.
They may be the team that we look at and they are unintentionally
This is a
bad
gap. This is
this
a gap year for them. They are behind the 8 ball.
Let's go through it for those that don't know. As we enter opening night of the NBA,
Mhm.
you have suspended Ja Morant for the first 25 games of the year.
Yep.
You have Steven Adams shut down for the year with a knee surgery.
Torn
And that
knee.
sucks, man, because he
Steven
was
Adams,
banged up
like,
last year
he
too.
is,
and
and
he's
he-
old.
And he tried to play through it last year to give the Grizzlies a chance, and it just didn't work.
You have Brandon Clark,
Coming off the Achilles surgery.
who is still out
Yep.
and does not have a timeline for his return.
I would think probably January at the earliest, and it's probably pushing it still.
So that leaves them with Marcus Smart, Desmond Bain, Zaire Williams, one of the best defenders in the NBA. Jaren Jackson Jr. could have been
Defensive
Defensive Player of the Year.
No, he was.
He was
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah.
I thought,
Yeah, yeah, he won last year.
boy, I forget. Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA is an
Because
award that I forget.
They had the last 2 Defensive Player of the Year winners in Smart and
Yeah.
Triple J.
That's right. Even though Marcus Smart,
Should not have won it.
Danny hates Marcus Smart winning the Defensive Player of the Year.
I don't think anybody outside of Boston believed Marcus Smart should have won Defensive Player of the Year.
Xavier Tillman is your starting center in Memphis as well. That team is not a top flight team in the Western Conference this year. They sure as heck aren't the 3 seed that they were a year ago.
No,
or
not
2
like-
seed a year ago.
Not only that, like their big man depth is shot now.
Yeah,
Like-
boy, I thought he was going a different direction with that word when he started it. Their big man depth is shot right now.
Shot.
Out of a cannon
Shot.
into the ocean.
Mm.
Yeah,
Indeed.
that's right.
Heavy emphasis on the O.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't because look, you need Brandon Clark. This is the sad part with him is like a win healthy situation with Brandon Clark.
Brandon Clark's a super fun player.
But it is turning into the win healthy.
Yeah.
That qualifier, I hate that we have to use that, but you do with him right now. And then without Steven Adams, like that guy, I think people don't understand or appreciate as much how much Steven Adams means.
He's a non-box
to
score
everything.
winner.
Because you cannot fight over or really under a screen effectively from him because he is a massive human
And
being.
he's considered to be the strongest guy in the league from basically every player I've ever talked to.
And that translates to both ends of the floor.
He
of
boxes
his
out
importance.
3 guys at a time. Like it was like, oh, he doesn't really rebound that well. It's like, oh, that's weird. When he's on the floor, his team out rebounds the other team by a drastic margin.
Yeah.
It's like he's a non-box score all-star in that he screens people's souls out of their bodies.
Yeah.
He boxes out like an entire side of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
His rim protection ability, his IQ, his not only his rim protection, his protection. Oh, you want to come hard at somebody? Cool. Just remember, next time down the floor, you're going to lose teeth.
Yeah. I like that about him too. Is that he's like he's one of the we're losing enforcers in the NBA. He's still an enforcer.
Talk to your big man. Remember when it was it Dame? It was Dame or CJ got screened out of just this galaxy.
Yeah.
Coming up the floor, didn't see Steven Adams, and everybody got mad at him. He goes, "Talk to your big man," as in Nurk didn't let the player know that it was coming.
They're set for a setback.
They're in for a regression. They are the chaos theory. What can go wrong will.
And it'll be really interesting to see after 25 games where Ja Morant is at between the years.
Oh God! I mean, again, we referenced it a little bit. The Baxter Holmes story last week. There are plenty of people around the league who are, if they could sell their Ja Morant stock, they would.
Other than that, like the Blazers are clearly heading into this year. They are clearly the worst team in the Western.
In the
Conference.
West, yes.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have probably this always happens. You're going to have a team that suffers some insane amount of injuries.
Yep.
And you can never predict that, but on paper, look, everybody wants to talk about like Ant is he a good player? Yes. Is DeAndre Ayton a good player? Yes. Is Jeremy Grant a good player? Yes. They have plenty of good players. They don't have great. And that's what this year is about. Do they have a great prospect in Shaden Sharp? Do they have a great prospect in Scoot Henderson? Does Ant have another gear? Like that, those are the questions about this year. And if you've noticed, none of them have to do with winning.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough. All right. Well, who's going to be the best in the West and the East? We'll get some of our thoughts in on the West or the NBA, which season gets underway tonight. The defending world champion Denver Nuggets 4:30 tip to kick off the NBA season on TNT against the Lakers. Danny Dusty on the Fan.
whoop, and then yoink,
Yeah, people were
dipping out my food.
people were watching.
For
Danny's
those-
so mad.
For those wondering, I'm putting it on Twitter here in just a second, so you can all
Oh, no
see
way.
just how ridiculous this is.
All right, let's
I
get through.
love the Petty Olympics.
We talked about who's going to be the worst team in the Western Conference. Portland. Let's look at who's going to be the best teams among the best in each of the conferences here, because look, there's no shortage of great teams. I think the odds-on front runner is the team that the Portland Trailblazers dealt Damian Lillard to, and it's no secret. It is the Milwaukee Bucks. They are loaded. They are deep. They have improved their roster dramatically. They did not have to, and think about what they gave up to get Dame. They did not have to give up a whole heck of a lot from their war chest of pieces that they have for their team this year. They are still a top flight roster. I think it's pretty easy. It is Milwaukee as number 1 in the East. After that, it gets a little bit more hairy as to sorting out the Eastern Conference, because you have the Boston Celtics will be good. The Philadelphia 76ers may just implode, and they may be unintentionally bad this year because James Harden isn't there. He's not going to show up. They're going to be shorthanded. And then who's going to trade for a guy like that? And will they end up getting the best end of a deal like that? Will Miami resurface as a team that wasn't just a play-in team that made it to the finals last year, but are they going to put it together for 82 throughout the regular season? There's a lot of questions out east outside of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a much more wide open scenario in the East. Like as much as everybody keeps talking about Boston, like you're predicating your season on you got rid of the 6th man of the year and a defensive player of the year capable big, and you're counting on 38-year-old Al Horford and a guy in Kristaps Porzingis who in 1 year, I believe, I'm trying to remember, a friend of mine who covers the Mavericks told me that in one season he had 17 different lower body injuries.
That seems like a lot.
Like that
seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 7'3" Latvian big man who Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn, who, don't get me wrong, has played really well when the stakes don't matter. And he was very good last year for the Wizards, but he's never been good in seasons that for teams that matter.
I am gonna break this to some people out there. Unicorns aren't real.
Oh,
So maybe that may be an apt nickname for Kristaps Porzingis.
Ah, it's even deeper than I was aiming to cut. That's tough. But you look at where things sit. I really like Cleveland. I love Garland and Donovan Mitchell. That marriage is not one for that's going to last, unfortunately. Mitchell's going to find his way out of there one way or the other. But while they have them, it's a team that I really like. They go out and they take Strus from Miami, who's shown he's more than a capable NBA player. I think Evan Mobley's Defensive Player of the Year capable guy. Jared Allen did not play well in the playoffs, but I really like that team. Could they make a step? The Knicks seem to have a real roster.
Isn't that the Cleveland roster, though, just like a bunch of guys that we've all been waiting to put it together?
Yeah, but they're all super young.
Yeah.
Like,
and you just like, you keep waiting.
Mobley's in year 3.
Like,
Garland's in year 5. Yeah, but like they're all still like
Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell.
Mitchell's the only one who's really in his prime, and
been in the league for a while though.
Yeah, but again,
like, come on, let's go, let's see it.
That's the thing is, I think they've shown it that they're very good.
Yeah,
but that was their first real trip to the playoffs. Now let's see kind of where they go from there. But you have questions there. Yeah. Miami, my God, they're running back a worse roster.
They really are. They really are.
So I don't understand how you can look at that team and go, yeah, that's the one I want to give. And listen, I don't want to count Jimmy and Bam out, but also at the same time, like there's no reason to sit there and be like, oh yeah, no, they're going to get a lot more contributions from Tyler Herro, and they're going to get more contributions from Jokic and Jaime Jaquez. It's like, come on, buddy.
There's a team that I'm kind of keeping an eye on in the East, and I can't figure out if they got better this offseason, but they have pieces that I like. Indiana.
They're going to take a step. They might be a play-in team.
Right. But it's like they feel like the early iteration of what we talk about with Cleveland.
Sure. I mean, Hallie's a dude. We saw that with Team
Mathurin.
USA. Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton. You've got Miles
Miles
Turner,
Turner's
which is
back.
the guy you're sitting there like, okay, are they ever going to get over the hump, or are they going to trade him finally this year?
And they just re-signed Neesmith, so like they've got a nice little, like they're a fun little team.
Yeah,
they're
and
gonna
then
be a fun little
like
league pass
Obi
team.
Toppin and Bruce Brown, you're like,
your redraft kind of player.
all
Yeah.
right, like these are guys that had really high ceilings, but
Nobody
could they
know-
be good? They have Nemhard off the bench
Yeah.
and Buddy Heald as well. Like,
Yeah.
pieces that you're like, I
And
could
NBA
see them
caliber
being
players, sure.
good.
Yeah.
Like
And-
I could
and-
see it, frisky.
Then you're looking at the Toronto Raptors,
Yep.
who nobody I've talked to in the league, player, coach, executive, is like, yeah, no, I believe in what they're doing. Everybody's going, what the hell are they doing?
Holding on for way too long,
Yeah,
being stubborn.
this
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, no, this is like a worse version of what the Blazers have done. In
Yeah.
that they not only have they not picked a path, they haven't added to the team. Like they've just
Sounds
lost
familiar.
and lost. Like, well, I mean, even Neil O'Shea made stupid moves, but they tried to make moves with Covington and Nance, and like they tried to add at least something.
But those were all moves that everybody in their right mind said these are moves on the margins and not
Sure.
they're not needle movers.
No.
Everything they did under Neil O'Shea was on the edges of making
And you could argue that-
slightly better if you squint.
Making those moves put them in a worse position. Not even argue, it did.
No, it did.
But Toronto isn't even attempting to do that.
Mm.
They're running it back with less and less and less. Like you lost guys for nothing, and you keep doing it.
All right, out west, I mean, Denver's the reigning world champions, and they continue to be really stinking good. But look, Phoenix is going to be a problem out west.
Yes,
The top of the Western Conference is gnarly
It is.
to get through.
I mean you look at how the team that I'm looking at to fall off is Dallas. I do not believe in Dallas. I love Luka, but
Oh,
that is-
no way. Kyrie Irving team?
Not only that, like, you look behind them, like who's there? Who's like they just re-signed Josh Green, who's a nice player, but Jaden Hardy's an undersized guard that doesn't really fit with when they already have Kyrie. It's like I'm not really seeing it there. They don't. They're
What are you talking about? Maxi Kleber and Tim Hardaway Jr.
Look, I like Maxey. I think he's a really good player. He's a really good role player. But they haven't figured out their big situation. They're talking about starting Derek Lively, who has all of the tools, but like I don't know if he's ready to put it together. Dallas just seems like a candidate to fall apart. And the Pelicans, they can't stay healthy.
No.
And not only that, like you're basing your team off Zion and BI. And as much as everybody wants to believe in the potential, year 3, year 4 of it, like everybody's tired of it. They're just tired of it just because.
And they're going to get CJ'd too.
Yeah, I mean they are. That's so it's good. Like don't get me wrong, when they're all healthy and they're all on the floor,
Really
they'll break you.
What do you think of Sacramento? Seems like it might be like a regression year as far as being the 3rd seed. Still a playoff team.
They were
but
also
like
the healthiest team in the league last year.
not the 3rd seed in the NBA in the Western Conference.
The flip side is, does De'Aaron Fox have another year in him? And everybody keeps talking about how great he's looked coming out of camp, how he's looking better. Look, Fox was a guy that everybody thought was going to be a superstar guard.
Yep.
And did it just take a couple extra years? So they brought over Sasha Vezenkov, who was Real Madrid's MVP in their title run. Dude can shoot it. And that was something I think the Kings didn't have in the playoffs because Kevin Huerter went poof and disappeared.
Ronald Threasley?
Yeah, his 3-ball disappeared. So
Damn.
having some more reliable shooting, their big man depth is a little bit dinged up as Trey Lyles is dealing with some stuff right now. So you're already starting to see the injuries pop up for them that they didn't have last year. But I think they're still solidly a playoff team. I think the 2 teams in the West that I worry about the most, like dropping off, are Jay McDaniels, who just got that big contract, is one of the best defensive players in the league. He's unbelievably huge. Enormous wingspan, is on an upside player. Anthony Edwards, I think, is going to be a very good player. I don't think he's great. I'm probably one of the few that is not buying all the Ant Edwards hype. I think he's very good. I just don't think he's a number 1. I think he's a really good number 2. But they still have to figure out the Cat Gobert thing, and I don't think they're ever going to. And they're going to end up. I mean, the worst kept secret in the NBA right now is that the Timberwolves are shopping Cat.
Well, and here's the thing that behind like running the point is Mike Conley.
Mhm.
Mike Conley's old now.
He's 36.
He's 36 years old. We talk about Chris Paul being old. But Mike Conley is old too.
And injuries are catching up to him. He's
100%.
He was a guy who was bulletproof, but you're starting to. I mean, man, you get over 35 in the NBA, especially as a small point guard, it beats your body up.
And that is where you sit there and you look at, all right, depth could be the issue
Mhm.
that drags them down.
Creation, particularly.
Yeah.
You're counting on Edwards being a bit more of a creator than he has been in the past. So.
All right.
But yeah,
Wow.
but
Look at the NBA starting tonight, man.
OKC, OKC.
I
is the
think they'd be
wild
really
card.
good.
I think they're one piece away. Do they trade a Giddy? Like, let's get super weird. Let's say Joel Embiid comes free. Do the OKC throw Giddy and picks at the 76ers?
They have 37 draft picks
in the next 5 years.
in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
37.
Do they say, look, we know Joel doesn't want to be here. It's Oklahoma City, but also maybe we can convince him. The same way they did with Paul George. And then all of a sudden you've got a
Bottomless
Chet,
Shirley Temples.
well, I mean, you've got a Chet, Embiid, Shea Gilgeous, Alexander group, and you're just like, oh, what do you do with that?
I don't know, throw Wemby at him.
Yeah, good luck.
Oh, man. All right, NBA gets going tonight. Let's go. Giddy up, Buttercup.
Love to see it. Oh, boy. I'm still very, very hangry right now. I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb. When you're I don't want to say prepubescent. If you're a teenager with dreams of the NBA, stay off Twitter. But first, here's a Sports Center update with the Big Kahuna.
You ever had a Big Kahuna burger?
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, we're treated with another Game 7 in the Major League Baseball playoffs this evening. This one in the NLCS. Brandon Pfaadt starting for the Diamondbacks. Ranger Suarez for the Phillies. That's a 5:07 first pitch. Coverage on 910 ESPN. Portland starts at 4:30. The Texas Rangers waiting in the wings with Game 1 of the World Series on Friday in Arlington. The Athletic reporting Padres manager Bob Melvin leaving after 2 seasons to take the same position with the Giants. On the hard court, a TNT doubleheader starts the NBA season this evening. Defending champion Nuggets hosting the Lakers, 4:30 tip. Denver 4.5-point favorites. That's followed by the Warriors hosting the Suns. Golden State are 2.5-point favorites. Phoenix reportedly sitting Bradley Beal due to lower back tightness. Devin Booker is a 50-50 shot with a toe injury. Trailblazers announced they've signed center Duop Reith to a 2-way contract. They have also requested waivers on Abu Baji. Over in the NFL, Cardinals placing tight end Zach Ertz on injured reserve with a quad strain, meaning he'll miss at least the next 4 games. Saints wide receiver Chris Olave arrested last night on suspicion of reckless operation of a motor vehicle. Police say Olave was driving 70 in a 35 and, quote, recklessly maneuvering between lanes and around other drivers. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Spirit Mountain Casino brings you big games on big screens with big-time sports betting action. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Live, local, and free. No subscription required. Portland's sports leader is 1080 The Fan.
Sponsor
Bucks.
All right, welcome back into Danny and Dusty. Creed, man. Thanks, Rust.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that one. Mr. Meringue, this is going to be of no surprise to anybody. He was like, "Are you kidding me? My food just got here." And I said, "No, you have to go and get it now."
Go get it. We're okay.
So he went to go get his food. He is now back. Has the food safely arrived to Odyssey Portland?
Food is safe and secure.
And did you fight the driver? Was it the same driver?
No, I don't know. They were gone.
They were gone?
But it is, it's funny. It was also 20 minutes late. So.
Yeah, you can't get it right all the time, you know?
Yeah.
Can't get it right all the time.
Good times.
All right, we are now for the worst day on the web. It's not the driver, which you are about to just put all of their information on the internet.
Yeah, if you want to see them, I just posted the video of them stealing my food on Twitter.
Yeah, they'd give the whole whoopsie-doo look around like, boop, boop. Nope, I'm out.
Just unbelievable.
That is a pretty bad day on the web.
You know, also had a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
Lakers swingman, whatever you want to call him, Austin Reeves. Well, back in 2012, let he who has not cast the first stupid tweet here throw the first stone. If you go through literally everyone's tweets that's in the NBA right now, one went very viral this summer with Damian Lillard, chastising LeBron James in his early Heat days.
Still one of my favorite drops.
You can find something on literally anyone who has a Twitter in the NBA.
Ain't gonna be no buddy stuff.
That part. But Austin Reeves sat down with the Ringer and had to explain the situation from 2012 and how he smoothed it over with LeBron James.
I was a big Kobe fan. So like for a long time, like I wasn't the biggest Bron fan. And like me and him have a conversation about it because there was a post that come out middle of last year when we were in New Orleans, and it was a Facebook post that I posted from 2012, and it was like, when I need some sleep, I put my phone to LeBron mode, no rings or something. And I was just like, I'm gonna get in trouble for this one.
Every one of you guys just that up. Like every draft class on, everybody immediately digs in to see who you've ripped.
For sure.
But anyway,
no doubt.
That's actually not the worst tweet, though.
No.
So I give you a lot of credit for the creativity.
But I remember we were in New Orleans, and SportsCenter posted it on Instagram, and I just pulled up my phone, and first thing I seen, and I was just like, so I was like, all right, I gotta man up. Like I just gotta call him over here and tell him. So I was like, Brian, come here, man. And he walks over. He was like, what's up? I was like, look, I was a huge Kobe fan. I was shitting on you back in 2012. And I read what I posted. He just started laughing. He ended up making, a comment about it in the media after I did the Too Small to Pat Bev. Just about me having his back, even though I was a Kobe fan. So, shout out to him for, not taking that any type of way.
I love it because look, if you go, like I said, you can go back and through basically any player's Twitter, and you go back to their pre-NBA career. Eric Bledsoe has one that he's famous for. I'm sorry, not Eric Bledsoe. Dennis Smith Jr. has one. I don't know if I can.
Slanging wood?
Yeah. There you go. You can say slanging wood, right?
Yeah.
I slang that wood.
Yeah.
That's a great tweet.
Mm-hmm.
High school and early college players' tweets. Mwah!
Oh, man.
So many bangers. So many. And Austin Reeves, well, he's super young here. 2012. He's 24, so he's probably 12, 13 years old when he did this one.
You remember Mitchell Trubisky's? This is Mitchell Trubisky from 2011. I love to kiss the tees.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How old was Mitchell Trubisky then? Mitchell Trubisky was probably like 13 years old. He's 29 right now. So 12 years ago, he was like, he's 17? He was a 17-year-old kid?
Mm.
Yeah, okay, Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
That's a tweet that a 17-year-old would throw out there on the internet.
Also, Austin Reeves was 14.
Ooh, yeah.
For this tweet. He was born in 98.
Yeah. Look, life comes at you fast, man. Life comes at you real fast. This is why I will never understand it. When you are a kid, when you get to college or you hire an agent, your social media should be scrubbed. They should just tell you you delete all of it and you start from scratch.
To be honest, yes. Okay, I thought you were going to say that they should like monitor it. I'm like, somebody should go back and delete it.
No,
for
scrub
you.
it. No,
Yes.
you scrub it or it gets deleted
entirely.
Full send. Like, you do not have anything out there because you're going to just step in it like this because guess what? Kids are stupid.
Yes, very. They're very dumb across every single level.
I'm very happy that social media didn't exist when I was a kid. Like, I mean, honestly, it would have, like, the things that it just is not worth it if you are a high-level athlete to put this stupidity of a child's brain on the internet. I mean, well, look, I'll just say this for anybody. Like, this will be the downfall of social media is when people are like, is it really worth it when I'm not getting jobs, when people aren't getting jobs as they get older because of the stuff that they put out on the internet when they're 12, 13 years old, 14 years old, right? Like Austin Reeves, like, we can laugh about that because that is hilarious.
It's very dumb.
That the 14-year-old came up with that or found it from somewhere and then put it on there and then ended up playing with LeBron and then having to go, oh, God, this is gonna suck. But how about the nice little humble brag he threw in there too of I called LeBron over to me and LeBron came over to him. Is like,
you know what? I didn't even think about that.
He slid that in. Was like, LeBron comes to me. I say, hey, come on over here. But that one is innocent. I just don't understand why they have anything left on their social media when they get to professional sports.
Now, most of the guys nowadays are smarter about it, for sure, especially at the very top of the draft.
Yeah.
But, yeah, again, there's still bangers out there, and that's why you have to go all the way back.
So good.
Yeah, you hire somebody to scrub the social medias.
So good.
Well, speaking of people having thoughts on things,
Can you imagine that feeling of you open up your phone for the first time of the day, you're like,
oh, crap. They found one of my old tweets.
No.
It's better to have one of those than have, like, the cancelable tweets.
Right. Yeah.
Which there's plenty of those that have come across sports.
100%.
Some differing views on what's going on with the Michigan Spygate, scouting gate. Do we have a gate name for this yet?
No, I don't think it's risen to gate yet. It is a Spygate-esque phenomenon.
We need a good name for this. Every good scandal needs a name. But a couple of big name coaches have chimed in, and they may go a different way than what you're planning. We'll get to that next here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Always being mad.
Yeah, Bill Burr is
always
like your
mad.
spirit animal.
He is. I probably shouldn't be, but yeah, we're driving in the same lane. There's no doubt about that. But everybody's very bad. Oh my God, I can Ryan Day incredulous about this, and it's so ridiculous in the sense of I've talked to a bunch of people in basketball about this whole Michigan scandal, and to every single one of them, they've all been like, oh, "We just call that scouting. It's not some sort of scandalous thing to like pick up on signals or anything like that. It was like, that's just scouting. That's all we look at. We just call it scouting."
Right. Well, but there aren't written rules that you can't videotape specifically, and like what happens in NBA signals are different than what you see from college football, which is you are signaling in your play, right, from the sideline. Like you'll hear words be thrown out, and you'll see like a coach on the sideline get up or down or whatever, and the point guard will do his thing. With football, though, there's so much more. Like there's so much more that happens in a play.
Oh yeah, I mean,
right? Giving away what the play is,
sure.
It's far more. It's far different. But the idea, and really, this is why I think that Jim Harbaugh is going to play dumb in his defense,
because he probably was,
and that he thinks that the NFL, like he just goes with the NFL mentality that he probably didn't know that this was a hard and true rule in college football that you couldn't go and try to decipher the hand signals. He knew that you can't videotape them, and he knew that you can't go to the lengths that Connor Stallions went to, but I don't think that he thought in-person scouting was going to be as big of a deal as it is.
Well, it's kind of funny that you mentioned the NFL side of this because there's two coaches here on the NFL side of things, or previously on the NFL side of things. Number one in Matt Rule, who, he had his thoughts on it.
Yeah, sign stealing happens every game. There's nothing wrong with teams over there looking over trying to steal our signs. There's nothing wrong with us trying to look at their signs. That's why you should have mics in the helmets, right? Like all these coaches that vote against it every year is because they don't want to teach their quarterback. In the NFL, each quarterback goes out there with 3 play calls because if I see the free safety's foot like that, it might be one high. I'm going to check to this play, but you get to college and you're watching a game on a Tuesday night, and they got the signal and they're just calling a play. So that's what makes college football, to me. That's why they score maybe more points, but it's also why the kids are less prepared. So that's why there should be 100% should be. We could get rid of all the stupid signs on the sidelines, and we could get pictures of, rock stars and all that stuff. And we could just play football the way it was meant to be. You go to a high school game, there's technology on the sideline. You go to an NFL game, there's technology on the sideline. You go to the college, there's nothing.
When you played Michigan, did you have any suspicions that there was more than the usual amount of knowledge on their side?
No one from the Big Ten or NCAA has asked me anything yet, so I'm not going to probably comment on anything like that. I would never want to cast shade at somebody else going through a hard time. I don't know anything.
Number one, Matt Rule threw in a get off my lawn there moment, but he also had some like, what are we doing here? But he also had, here's my favorite thing about people who complain and have an answer to said complaint. Put technology back on the field.
This is what I've been saying for years, is that why could you not have the headset and the earpiece go in? And actually, Chris Vanini of The Athletic, he has an article up right now about how they kind of slid under the radar, and it's going to be on a trial basis. But this bowl season and playoff, there will be the use of technology, whether it is the earpiece in the quarterback's helmet, and I think it's an unlimited amount. It's not just the quarterback. And then a wristband. You could also use a wristband like we see PitchCom in Major League Baseball, or they have wristbands that you quite literally, it'll just have a reading of what play you're running. It'll just come into your wristband, then it disappears, it goes away. And so every player knows what play they can run. Yeah, right? Well, no, it's not magic. It's more of, we all know what that means.
It's computers.
It's computers.
Oh, right.
It's computers is what it is.
It'd be like cool if it was magic.
No, it's not. But they do need that. And I think what Rule is saying is like sign stealing does happen. Right when this whole thing came out, like you see it. If you look close enough, look on the edges of the coaches' boxes, which is between the 25-yard lines of any sideline in college football.
They're watching.
There will be a group of coaches or lower level assistants
GAs
that are all sitting there, and they are looking at the opponent sideline as plays are coming in and they're trying to decipher what it means.
Mm-hmm.
That is what naturally happens. This is where, like, when Connor Stallions is overstepping in this, is when you're buying tickets on each sideline to videotape on your phone what those signals are, and then you're taking it so you have a week's head start.
I'm just calling that proper preparation.
It is not that. It's what everybody accuses the Patriots of doing. It's just cheating and using technology to decipher your signs. It's what got people all hot and bothered about the Astros too. Is like both of those organizations use technology to go above and beyond.
More than that. The Astros are doing it live in games and communicating.
Well, that's what you do
live
in game. And what do you think Michigan was doing? Michigan, there's a still shot of a guy holding a laminated sheet of paper with hand signals on it. Like, what do you think that they were doing? Like, you don't think that they were using them live and in real time? That's exactly what they were doing.
I didn't hear any banging of trash cans.
That's the entire
two for pass, one for run.
Hey, but you know what? They didn't need to because they could just tell them. And that is like that's the whole thing about it. Like,
I wish they would have gotten the band involved in this.
It's exactly what the Patriots and Astros are doing, which is taking something that is common, using technology, and taking it a step further.
Well, there's another coach that thinks that wasn't such a big deal.
No, and I agree with this to an extent. Coach Prime, he had his thoughts.
I mean, everyone's trying to get an edge. I mean, everyone's trying to get whatever edge they can. You could have someone's whole game plan. They could mail it to you. You still got to stop it. So in football, it's not as pronounced as baseball. If I know a curveball is coming, I got you. You know, with football, I don't give a darn if you know a sweep is coming. You still got to stop it. Physically, it's a physical game. You got to stop it. So that's a little tough. I don't buy into a lot of that stuff that someone's stealing this, stealing that. I don't buy into a lot of that stuff. You still got to play the game. Back in our glory days with San Francisco as well as the Cowboys, you know darn well Emmitt Smith is getting the ball. You know darn well Mike Irvin is running the comeback. You know darn well Jay Novacek is going to do what he's going to do, and you couldn't stop it.
That's a really good point. I remember what I said when the whole Lake Ridge Tiger thing, the filming of practice.
Sure.
It's like this is where I think
42-7.
It's overblown in that, like with high school football, it is you could tell the entire defense what play is going to happen. There is still like 3 kids that are just going to do their own damn thing, and it won't matter.
Yeah,
like you still have to execute the play. Dion is saying basically that, but at the Division I level, at a Power 5, and as one of the top teams in the country, Michigan, they execute at a much higher level, and the advantage is inherently far greater. I mean, but the reality is that there are so many teams that you know exactly what's going to come, but I dare you to stop it.
Yeah,
we are going to be better than you.
To put simply, the brotherly shove. You know it's coming.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Anytime you play a wing T team, you know what's coming.
3 things are coming, and you stop it.
Yeah, that's what the zone read is based on. Is like, okay, you know what we're gonna do. We know that we're watching you on the end, and you are our read man. But no matter what you do, we have a way to beat you. That's what most of these offenses are built on. Is a built-in win, no matter what a defense does. And so execution is paramount in all this, but where Dion kind of oversimplifies it is that, yeah, all of those things are easier said than done. Like, he talks about those Cowboys teams. Well, essentially, Michigan is those Cowboys teams.
Sure.
And they're supremely talented, and they're better than 90% of the opponents that they'll have. The only team that they are not physically better than is Ohio State in their own conference and a team like Georgia in the college football playoff. But other than that advantage of knowing what the other team is doing when your players are better than them too, that is a huge advantage.
I feel like what Dion and Rule are saying here is get good.
Yeah, just be better.
Yeah.
And the idea of sign stealing is nothing new, and it's not out of the.
It's not out of pocket.
No.
So,
But what Michigan did was too far. And now we're going to have technology, which is the big thing. I think a lot of people forgot
that's
about.
the best part about this is that this scandal, handgate compromise, handgate, right? Jeff Rust,
hand signals gate,
handgate.
Somebody's job.
It's somebody's job for sure. That might lead to a technological change.
Yep.
So there you go. You get a nice little change. Well, speaking of changes in college football, we've been quiet on the Oregon State, Washington State front as far as what the hell is going to happen to them coming up in the next year or two and kind of where they're at financially. Are they going to exist? We've got some further news from Ross Dellinger. We'll dive into that next here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. at this station celebrates the opening night of the NBA.
Look, we got a poll up at Danny and Dusty on Twitters, and
Am I being trolled?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, because NBA opening night is winning. Where will your eyes be tonight? NBA opening night, 53.9%. Phillies D-backs game 7, 46.1%. I think that's I'm surprised by it, but it's game 7, man. This is game 1 of 82 for the NBA, and I am excited to have it on the TV and something to check out, though. We are full. Our sports cup runneth over with all the content that is out there right now, because you also have NHL too, where you see what ESPN's doing tonight. They've got like the Red Zone channel in Buccigross is, I think, running it's a Red Zone channel type for the NHL,
which is kind of weird.
I don't know how that works
because the puck's always in the red zone. Like it spends very, very, very little time in the neutral zone.
I think what you're going to have is just a bunch of goals 10 seconds after they happen. That seems like that's how that operates.
I'm okay with that.
Sure. I don't know how it'll work out, but what if nobody's scoring?
Hockey goals are really, that's the thing, man. Have you, I mean, I know you're not really a puck guy, but scoring's up in the NHL. Like I know you're getting significantly more goals.
I love watching hockey. I just don't.
Sure. Like if you actually sit down and do it, it's like, this is fun.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's so many other things that are in front of it. Because I love hockey. I do. And anytime I get a chance to go to like an actual, look, I love the Winter Hawks. They're awesome. They're fun. But if I get a chance to go to an NHL game, I love it. It's just, I mean, it's college basketball versus NBA basketball. It's just, it's a different game. It's one of the best in-person sports experiences that exists.
NHL's great. It's fantastic.
But sitting down for that, look, man, sign me up every time. I like a little red zone action.
Yeah, it's not going to get any of my attention today, though. It's even behind Liberty, Western Kentucky on my radar.
Give me some phallic helmets, and it's going to get a little weird.
Yep. But go and vote on the poll question. Where will you guys be tonight? Phillies D-backs Game 7 or NBA's opening night? And it is the first ever Game 7 for the Philadelphia Phillies, which seems like that's like not right.
Ever.
What?
First season, 1883.
Yeah. So can you imagine?
And it's not like they've been like, they
used to play best of 9 series too.
Yeah.
I think that's excluding those ones, but
this is
they aren't the Cubs who win 100 years without.
No, they just either lose quickly or win quickly. Yeah.
That's really.
Yep.
That's one of the weirder sports numbers I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, so just imagine how drunk Philadelphia is going to be tonight.
Oh, so slammed.
Oh, they were already greasing the poles yesterday.
You know,
light poles.
You know what to do.
Did you say white poles or light poles?
Light poles. Jeez.
I was like, gosh, what are you talking about?
A lot of enunciation on today's show.
Sure we don't want to bring up my idea for the Michigan scandal again?
Is Everclear going to be there? Art Alakakis.
Oh, inside jokes are the best.
They're so
Especially when everybody listening knows them. This is why you become a P1 and you listen to the whole show.
Yes.
And if you miss any of the show, go check it out on the Service Patriots podcast. Service Patriots, your home comfort solution for all of your heating and air conditioning needs. Check out the latest special offers for our listeners at servicepatriots.com/thefan.
Well, we managed to burn through another whole segment talking about entirely nothing.
Yeah, it happens.
That's what's happened today. Oh, what could you do a red zone for the NBA?
No.
Like what would you do? You know what it would be?
Huh?
You know what it'd be? It'd be the final 5 minutes. Final 5 minutes within 5 points.
So that's just the witching hour.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Because you can't start with that.
You'd have a seizure if you were bouncing around to every point in the NBA. It's not possible. It'd be annoying.
It'd be delayed by like 10 seconds, and you're just hopping back. That'd be kind of fun because inevitably you would get stuck with the challenge or the review, and so there would be gaps in between games for sure.
Yeah, you
get a stupid call that gets a review every single night.
It'd have to be just a limited run of games, Like maybe if you had it on a night where there's only, like, you know how they have the Tuesday night where there's not only just 2 standalones on TNT,
Yeah.
but they throw on the NBA TV.
NBA TV one, yeah.
And maybe a couple others that are just
Just
local.
three or four games.
Like if you had Tuesday night, you could do that. where
not the opening night when you get everybody playing.
when everybody's playing, it'd just be too much.
It'd be kind of fun.
No, it wouldn't.
No?
No. All right, let's go.
You don't want to do that?
Yep, let's get to it.
All right. Well, coming up next, we will dive into the Oregon State. Oh, you good? Okay. Oregon State and Washington State position as they watch the Pac-12 fall down around them. There's actually some good news. Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Of the Cougs and Beavs and how they might actually get a bit of a windfall.
Short term,
which will allow them to pursue an independent schedule while they try to sort out some things specifically with the Mountain West.
But look, all this comes down to is what we all thought Oregon State and Washington State would be doing. What it doesn't really attack is this is very football centric, and it does not explain what everybody else is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think to the chagrin of Cougan Beef fans, you're finding out Mountain West is the course of action right now. And that's not good for the long-term stability of either program or institution. But nonetheless, it's kind of the only option that they have right now because Dellinger points out is that they're working on 2 different kind of models of how they're going to start scheduling moving forward. And it is very similar to what Notre Dame does with the ACC. But you're going to do it with 2 teams. where you play 7 or 8 games as members of the Mountain West, essentially. And in the 2 scenarios, they have one where like they're competing for like a league championship. The other one is are non-conference matchups. It's just an agreement that they have with the Mountain West Conference. And look, it's great that they'll have a place to play, but by no means is it stable for them to continue to be power conference teams. It does not appear that the College Football Playoff Committee will recognize whatever they do as automatic qualifier.
Of which currently the plan in the next year, when you have 12 teams, is the 6-6 rule, which allows for the 6 conference winners.
It's the 6th highest rated conference champions.
Yes.
So the 6 highest ranked conference champs, and then 6 at large bids. So obviously, when you look at it, the 6 highest ranked conference champions are Power 5.
You're looking at,
and then one additional,
and then one at large in a sense. But now with the Pac-12 gone, it turns to 5.
Yep.
And 7, which.
Well, no, not necessarily. They'll have to get a unanimous approval, which George Kliavkoff still has a seat at the table of the College Football Playoff Committee, because the Pac-12 technically exists as 2 teams, and the AAC is probably not going to want to go to 5 and 7 because that could lose them a seat at the table. Because right now, the way it sits is that if it's 6 and 6 still, that means 2 Group of 5 conferences get a team in. And they want that because then you have the AAC and the Mountain West are now players in this.
Exactly. So you would have a position where perhaps Oregon State, if this were next year and they were in the Mountain West, they would get a college football playoff bid.
But what it sounds like is most likely if they don't join the Mountain West, then what they'll look at is you are in a situation where you're viewed as an independent, not a group of 5 automatic qualifier. And that muddies the waters even more, because what do we always talk about with the group of 5? There's 10 conferences in college football right now.
About to be 9.
But there's 11 voting members because it's the 10 conference commissioners and Notre Dame.
Yeah, they got to do something about that.
Well, they won't, because Notre Dame has power, and they don't need to do anything about it because every other independent, they won't ever be a playoff contender anyways.
I don't like it. It needs to go away.
Well, that's your USC coming out. But if Notre Dame, if they're good enough, hell yeah, they deserve a spot at the table, even as an independent. But what Washington State and Oregon State, that's an uphill climb for them, because there could be a situation where a Mountain West champ gets in and they may have beaten the Mountain West champ, one of those schools, and they could still be on the outside looking in. That would be probably pretty far off, because I have a feeling that if Oregon State or Washington State has a magical season, they knock off a Mountain West champion, they're going to be ranked higher than that team, and they'll get in as an automatic qualifier. But these are the things that you're kind of looking at, and these are the warning signals. Now, why wouldn't they just join the Mountain West? Because there's a lot of money at stake.
Yes.
And basically what it comes down to is they're waiting for the lawsuits to get done.
Which, again, the Oregon State and Washington State are essentially suing for control of the Pac-12 now, not necessarily a year early, because every other team has submitted their withdrawal paperwork. So they should not, just like USC and UCLA last year, not have a seat at the table right now.
Yeah.
Essentially on decisions involving the Pac-12. And realistically, I think they should win, because it's the exact same situation as USC and UCLA.
It is.
So why should any of the remaining teams have any say in what the remaining 2 members do?
No, they shouldn't. And if they want to kind of dissolve it all, then go ahead and more power to them.
And that means the money that is due to the Pac-12 should go to the remaining institutions in Oregon State and Washington State.
Yeah, that's going to be the sticking point. There will be those still are members of the conference right now.
Sure, but the payouts don't come until the end of the year.
Yeah, and the future payouts should go to Oregon State and Washington State, and this is kind of what is at stake here, is that the Rose Bowl could be giving for 2 years through 2026, and 2026 is a big one because they pushed the 12-team playoff forward 2 years, and they did that under the current college football playoff agreement. So until 2026, the Rose Bowl will pay out the Pac-12 like $80 million a year.
That would be dispersed to equally between 12 teams.
Washington State and Oregon State. So
but now it goes to 2.
Now it's 2, and those 2 teams are going to sit there and be like, that's why we go hybrid with the Mountain West and we do not join, because once we join, everything goes away then.
Yes.
Because the Pac-12 then goes away.
And for those 2 years, they would be making more money than they would make literally anywhere else.
And I think they deserve that money.
Yes, they do.
And I think that anybody in the current Pac-12 that wants to complain about it, you guys are going to greener pastures.
Yes.
They're getting $40 million a year for 2 years.
Yeah.
You're getting $50 to $100 million when you jump to the Big Ten.
Yes.
Like per year. Like forever.
Yeah. And then who knows if it goes any higher in other rights deals.
Yeah. They'll be okay. And you'll be just fine. The same can't be said for Oregon State and Washington State. No. Leave them with a little something moving forward. There's something, though, that doesn't sit like well with me in this article that Ross Dellinger has up at Yahoo. And Scott Barnes, who he's been through it as the Oregon State AD, and I love that he's sticking around, and I'm glad he is sticking up for Oregon State.
Sure.
But there's one thing that he said that I just went, really? He said, we want fair consideration under a Power 5 umbrella. We want access and distribution is important. That I agree with. He said, we didn't put ourselves in this position. We'll continue to invest at a Power 5 level. We have an expectation that we'll be able to discuss what access and distribution look like while creating our path forward. But the idea that he said, we didn't cause this. Those that did need to help us with the solution. And he's talking about the other conference leaders.
No,
they don't
say
we didn't put ourselves in this position.
Yeah, he did.
Everybody is at fault, including Ed Ray, the former longtime president at Oregon State, who backed Larry Scott and backed the conference when everybody was sitting there going, this is not working.
This is not good.
This will not be sustainable. People are going to want to leave. You will get poached. Like, everybody said this. Like, it was when USC and UCLA took off for the Big Ten. Did that surprise people? Yeah, it did. But the fact of the matter is, there were 8 other teams in the conference at that point that put themselves in a position to be okay and survive, including teams with far less success on the field as Oregon State and Washington State have had in the last 5 years.
By a substantial amount.
And they were, hell, SMU found their way into the ACC. And to say like this, the whole we're surprised by anything, after USC and UCLA, you should not be surprised by anything that happened.
No, the woe is me behind all of it. That's the thing that really bothers me. And I will be staunch in this position because you're in a position where you are paid handsomely to know better.
Yeah.
And if you don't know better, that is your fault. If you are essentially a C-suite executive running that university and running that athletic department, it is your job to have the intelligence. And I'm not just saying like the brain power. I'm talking about like functional intelligence of your world that you are living in. If you do not have that and you are not reading the tea leaves, that is your fault. Hell, half the time, not half the time, a good portion of the time here, you were writing the tea leaves.
But along these same things, like, again, it bears repeating. I love that Scott Barnes is stepping up for.
Sure.
And I love that Pat Chun is doing it too for Washington State.
Both can be true.
They are sticking up for their athletic departments. They're sticking up for their fan bases, and they deserve it, damn it.
And they're putting it out there for the lawsuit. That's really what they're doing it for.
And I get like it is perception, and you're trying to
sway that public opinion. Absolutely.
But I mean, we need to stop with this was also unexpected.
Yeah. We didn't see this coming. Well,
we were talking about it on the radio for months. I'm not as tuned in as anybody as
USC
the athletic director or a university president is, and we all saw it coming.
When they both left, we went on the air that day and said this is likely the end of the Pac-10 or Pac-12.
Yeah.
If you didn't see this coming, that's on you, brother.
I thought that the Pac-12 would be able to have the foresight enough to
not do this,
absorb the Mountain West instead of the Mountain West absorb its final 2 schools.
Yeah.
I didn't think that we'd only have 2 remaining. And I did believe that, but as it got further down the line, it was pretty clear that that's what was going to happen. And what did we keep on saying? There was going to be 4 schools that were on the outside looking in, and it was going to be the Bay Area schools and the Northwest State schools.
Yep.
And that all came to fruition. And it's not like we're giving ourselves, you and I, a pat on the back. Like, this was widely thought and distributed across, unless you're talking about, like, with the exception of 2 people. Like, that is it, though.
Yes. And again, this is not a self-congratulatory situation.
No.
You had to be an idiot to not see this coming.
Yes.
Like that's the thing. Is like, don't, like, I understand what you're saying. Go to bat for your schools, sway the public opinion, but there's levels to this. Like, don't play dumb. Like, don't, because then you're betraying the trust.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. You can't go that far.
Like the whole, we didn't do this to ourselves. When he said we didn't cause this, those that did need to help us with the solution.
No, you did. You were a big part of it. Look, USC leaving is the first domino to fall. There's no doubt about it. I'm not running from that. It is what it is. You and I have talked about this off air a ton. It wasn't great, but
they did what was best for them.
And
that's what it came down to, is that everybody started looking out for themselves.
And that if you aren't operating under that auspices, you're not doing what's best for your university.
Yeah. But this is an interesting move. I'm glad that Dellinger kind of laid it all out there. This is where I'm glad that we know the direction and the avenues that are being looked at. The reality of it is, though, is that unless the Big 12 or ACC change their mind and they come calling, Cougs and Beavs are going to be members of the Mountain West moving forward.
And it might be a 1-year deal, it might be a 2-year deal, and it might be a 2 and then a 1, kind of a quasi thing that they try to sort out.
But there will be lawyers.
Yeah, there's always lawyers.
There will be lawyers.
You know where there's not lawyers?
Where?
Where we go 3 up and 3 down. It's Tuesday afternoon. We're going to do a little bit late.
At least not yet.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe in the 3 down we'll put lawyers. But first, here's the Big Kahuna with the Sports Center update.
That's that Hawaiian burger joint.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, Major League Baseball treating us to another Game 7, this one in the NLCS. Brandon Pfaadt starting for the Diamondbacks, Ranger Suarez for the Phillies. 5:07 first pitch, coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 4:30. The Texas Rangers waiting in the wings with Game 1 of the World Series on Friday in Arlington. The Athletic reporting Padres manager Bob Melvin leaving that post after 2 seasons to take the same position with the Giants. A TNT doubleheader starts the NBA season this evening. The defending champion Nuggets hosting the Lakers, 4:30 tip. Denver are 4.5-point favorites. That's followed by the Warriors hosting the Suns. Golden State are 2.5-point favorites. Phoenix reportedly sitting Bradley Beal due to lower back tightness, and Devin Booker is 50-50 with a toe injury. Trailblazers announced they've signed center Duop Reith to a 2-way contract. The team has also requested waivers on Abu Baji. Over in the NFL, the Cardinals placing tight end Zach Ertz on injured reserve with a quad strain, meaning he'll miss at least the next 4 games. And Lions wide receiver Marvin Jones announced he's stepping away from the team to take care of personal family matters. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Spirit Mountain Casino brings you big games on big screens with big-time sports betting action. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
Daily Boost is the podcast for in-depth analysis on the sports betting landscape. Listen on Odyssey or wherever you get your podcasts.
Commercial Industrial Auctioneers is holding their car, truck, and heavy equipment auction this Saturday, open to the public. For times, locations, and the auction catalog, go to commercialindustrialauctions.com. That's commercialindustrialauctions.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting exit enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or apply. Stop, opt out.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to fill up.
No way. Gas around here is too expensive.
Billy, don't drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying gas?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Earn cash back every time you buy gas. Text EXIT to 200-300 for an exclusive link to download the free Upside app and get an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. Cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just text EXIT to 200-300 to download the free Upside app and get an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus. Text the word EXIT to 200-300. Text EXIT to 200-300.
Football and basketball seasons are in full gear, and BetQL is ready to help you win more consistently this year. BetQL is an absolute game changer if you're looking to find trends to help you win. Make smarter bets on spreads, totals, player props, and more. BetQL has already helped over 300,000 people with powerful analytics and community insights. Don't fumble the ball at the goal line or airball any free throws this season. Visit BetQL.com for their free daily analysis today. That's BetQL.com.
If you're just tuning in, this is Fan 23, Fansville's #1 sports radio station.
Brought to you by Tasty Dr. Pepper.
We are settling the great debate, best third quarter snack, hot dogs or nachos?
You know my mantra, Doug.
Yes.
Meaty early, cheesy late.
Well, it looks like we have a caller here to weigh in. Is this Chuck?
Popcorn in the third is the move.
What?
You go with passive snacking after halftime.
No, it's nachos.
Look, as long as there's an ice cold Dr. Pepper there to wash it down, I'm good with either. Dr. Pepper, the one fans deserve.
Today, football is a game of sound. What if you couldn't hear your coach's play calls? What if you couldn't hear the referee's whistle? For deaf and hard of hearing athletes like me, these what-ifs are a reality. But with the AT&T 5G helmet, now we can see play calls just like the other teams hear them.
Connect the player, change the game. Learn more at att.com/5G helmet. Connecting changes everything. AT&T. AT&T is a proud supporter.
They redelivered my food
Okay.
late. They had already given me a $25 gift card on top of a $10 gift card, and then they just gave me $5 more because my food was late. So I have $40 in gift cards.
And a carne asada burrito.
And my food was free, and they added a quesadilla into the order.
And wow.
So there's a quesadilla out there that I just took a little nibble of.
I'm sure Suk will find that.
And
Yeah, I know I gotta go lick it or something.
and you got somebody fired.
Yeah, getting fired over a carne
And it
asada
wasn't
burrito.
Alex Grinch.
Yeah. Getting fired over a carne asada burrito. It's tough. It's a tough move.
Who's the other person that you said you wanted fired? You said it was Alex Grinch and one other person. I was like, wow.
Oh yeah, who was that yesterday? Oh, Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. All right.
Argue with me on that one.
I won't.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
I got nothing.
Yeah, nobody's got anything
I'm
for
not
that.
gonna argue with
Josh
that.
McDaniels can't make a compelling argument against that.
They just lost to the Bears, bro.
The only person that has a compelling argument against
My
that is
Bears.
Mark Davis, is because I'm broke.
His haircut says otherwise. You have to be filthy rich to have that haircut.
Because nobody's willingly cutting that into your hair.
Yeah, he looks like the guy from Kern's Nipple Factory on Parks and Rec.
Drawing a blank on that one.
If you
And I'm
watch
not- I'm
if
not
you're a
gonna
Parks
Google
and
it.
Rec person, you know. No, the Kerns, they make rubber nipples for bottles.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
If you know, you know. He does have the. I'll bring it up. I'll
Yeah.
Google it for you. You get us into this segment.
All right. It's Tuesday afternoon, so time for 3 Up, 3 Down. 3 things we like, 3 things we didn't coming out of the NFL weekend. Number one for me, 3 things I like. Underdogs. Underdogs across the board absolutely cleaned up this weekend. If you were taking a negative point spread, it was not a good weekend for you. You got punched in the teeth. If you were rooting on them dogs, you cleaned house.
All right, so the unders.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
it. Yep.
Martin Kernston from
Yep.
Kernston's.
Pick it up what you're putting down.
The Kernston Nipple Factory. He was rich too. All right, my number one up, the AFC North. All 4 teams in the AFC North are on 2-game win streaks. They do not have a team in the AFC North that is below 500. The Cincinnati Bengals are the worst team in that division at 3-3. They got 2 teams that are 4-2, and the Baltimore Ravens sit atop the AFC North with a 5-2 record, ready to hit the bye. And look, it's only going to get better for the AFC North as the weather gets worse and teams have to travel to all of them in outdoor stadiums, have to play in the elements. Look out for the AFC North.
Seems like a jerk move that they all built outdoor stadiums.
I love it. Well, all the people are very well insulated that live there.
Wow.
You got Baltimore, the Steelers fans, Cincinnati folk with all that Skyline chili.
Yeah.
You want to put a dome over a place that's eats Skyline chili all day?
Smell like out of Newburgh.
There's the fart factory there.
I don't know what they fed the cows last week, but I literally could smell it in my house.
And then Cleveland.
I mean,
the river caught on fire.
Yeah, no, that's
like we don't. You don't want a dome there. I rest my case.
I don't know. An on-fire river domed up sounds kind of dope, I'm being honest. All right, number 2 for me on my up this week, Myles Garrett. 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a blocked field goal. It is the first time in the NFL since 2000 that a player finished with 2 sacks and a blocked field goal. That's 23 years for those counting. Doesn't happen very often, and he did it in spectacular fashion, leaping the right guard untouched, then reloading and knocking down the field goal. He was a wrecking crew who the Colts decided would be a good idea to block with a tight end.
All right, my second one. I'm staying in the AFC North because TJ Watt of the
It's the Steelers.
had himself quite a day. So the Steelers won this weekend, and they exercised some demons on the West Coast. Continue to be really good out of bye under Mike Tomlin. But TJ Watt, he had an interception of Matthew Stafford in that third quarter of that game. And it was the 7th interception of his career. Do you know the only other person to, in their first 7 years, have 7 interceptions and at least 70 sacks?
No.
Lawrence Taylor. That is the only other person in NFL history that has had at least 70 sacks and 7 interceptions in their first 7 seasons in the league.
A lot of 7s in there. I feel like you feel like you're hitting jackpots.
It's very
when you're talking about those kind of numbers.
But in they're kind of oddly specific numbers.
Yeah.
But when you go down that rabbit hole and you find, only Lawrence Taylor and TJ Watt, that's incredible. And we don't give TJ Watt the roses that he should this year because of how good a guy like Myles Garrett has been.
Or Aaron Donald dominating over the last couple of years.
Don't forget, TJ Watt is a defensive player of the year too, guys. He's really good. That Watt family. Do you think he suffers from JJ fatigue? Is why we don't love TJ as much?
No, I think it's because he's not as
damn dumb.
As vocal and out front as JJ was.
Yeah.
JJ was always front and center. TJ.
Yeah, and that
TJ's
annoyed
not.
people.
See, I like it. I like JJ. I felt like he was a cleaner version of Jared Allen.
Mm-hmm.
No?
A cleaner version. Jared Allen, the fact that guy played at Idaho State is wild.
And that he was that good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not wild that he's that good because look at the dude. He's a freak of nature.
Didn't Stink play at Idaho State?
Idaho. He's a
Idaho.
vandal.
Yeah, that's right.
He's a vandal.
There you go. Speaking of dudes that didn't play at Idaho or Idaho State, Lamar Jackson. Fantastic week. Shut me up. I picked the Lions to win that game. I picked the favorite in that game. Lamar Jackson had arguably his best day as a pro.
Yep.
His most efficient, certainly. Carved them up on multiple levels. 19 of 21 or 22 in the first half for over 300 yards, 2 tutties.
pretty good.
I mean, my
Sounds
goodness. It was. He might as well just been out there levitating. There was nothing they could do. There was a stat from ESPN Sports Info. It said Lamar Jackson in the tracking era had the most yards thrown for under pressure.
God damn.
We talk about that game and how much the Ravens beat the hell out of the Lions, but it was because Lamar's greatness was so great. He extended plays, kept them going, did things outside the pockets that just killed the Lions the entire afternoon.
All right, for my third up.
First year we took it to the limit.
I'm going with the Duval Jacksonville Jaguars. How about this for Jacksonville? They've won 4 games in a row. In 2 different countries, in 3 different time zones. That's incredible. They will go back-to-back wins after going over to their home field in jolly old London town. They beat the Falcons. They beat the Bills.
Their summer home.
They come home, and in Jacksonville, where you got the swimming pool in the stadium, they beat the Colts. And then they go on the road, and they beat the New Orleans Saints. Right now,
they look convincing lately, too.
Jags looking good.
Yeah.
And they're going to get a good test, though, as they have to go up north. They got to go in the elements, and they play Pittsburgh at home this week.
Trevor Lawrence character is a pretty decent quarterback, I hear.
Yeah, he's all right.
Not bad.
He's okay.
All right, 3
Calvin
down.
Ridley's okay, too.
Yeah, it turns out getting him one of those kind of receivers is super useful. All right, number 1 on my down. Last night on Monday Night Football, Brock Purdy. Well, Brock Purdy? Just showing that he's not invincible. And we talked about this last week. As much as coming into, I guess the last 2 weeks, he was an MVP candidate. He has had some turnover-worthy throws, and the turnover-worthy throws coin has been flipped a few too many times, and, well, it's coming back to bite him.
Yeah, mine's Brock Purdy and really the San Francisco 49ers as a whole. 2 picks in the fourth quarter, and it's not just you get intercepted twice, but it's in a 5-point game where it's back-to-back drives where you can win the football game. When the defense isn't clicking on all cylinders, you've got to be able to carry your team a little bit more, and that's where Brock Purdy's next step in his evolution is. He's not just a game manager. He can be a game winner for you. He's got to take that step to consistency, and we haven't seen it back-to-back weeks, but especially last night, 2 interceptions. But, look, the defense didn't do him any favors. That play at the end of the half where Ward goes for the pick, and he has his hands on the ball, if you ever want to, have a picture of why coaches always say, catch the ball with your hands. That is it right there. He let the ball come into his body, and all that did was allowed the receiver, who then became the defender, to rip the ball away from him, and Jordan Addison was gone for a touchdown. That is a play that shouldn't happen. You knock that ball into the ground. There's 8 seconds left in the half, and you survive to not just play another day, but you win the game. You probably win that game because of the momentum shift that gave the Minnesota Vikings, and it was a 5-point game. That's 7-point swing or 6-point swing because of the fact that you had the extra point was missed.
Yes.
That was huge. That was a huge moment in that game, and it could have been just by knocking the ball down or catching the ball with your hands.
You sound like you had money on that game.
Yeah, I did.
All right, number 2 for me, it's Raiders. And they suck.
Yeah.
They suck something fierce.
They're not good.
They're not good. They need to pick a direction. The direction should be firing their coaching staff, tanking horribly, and resetting the roster. There's no more excuses about, well, they don't have McDaniels guys in there. They've gotten rid of most of the good players. They have a couple left in Devontae Adams, Max Crosby, Josh Jacobs. Outside of that, they're all the McDaniels guys. And they're worse, and they make less sense. And they're stuck in that level of hell that no team wants to be in. They're not truly awful. They have too much money committed and too much just out there in a sense that's like you're too veteran to just pull things back. They're in a level of suckitude that it's going to take a long time to get out of.
Nah, it's brutal, dude.
Indeed.
All right, where I go is to Green Bay, where Aaron Rodgers once said,
relax.
But I don't think you can relax after what they did. A craptastic game in Denver. Saw the Broncos knock off the Green Bay Packers. All they needed was a field goal to win that game. It was a 19-17 ball game. But the Packers ended up dropping their 3rd game in a row, and Jordan Love is a problem, and he is the problem when you look at the way that game shook out. He had an interception on their final drive where they could have won the game. And he had 2 receivers open. And he had one on the sideline, and he had his running back checking down towards the middle of the field to where you are on the minus, 43-yard line. You don't need the shot to the 10-yard line.
And honestly,
if you take what the defense gives you, you have a guy on the plus 45, and he's right next to the out of bounds, and he could just fall right out of bounds. 1, you're at mile high. 2, that gives you could probably have 2 plays after that that you were able to score on, but as it was, he throws a pick and the game's over.
Honestly, if he checks that down, was that Dylan that was out there?
Dylan was the running back.
Yeah, and he was in acres of space.
Dubs was out there. They had a minute 40 to go. A minute 40. You had plenty of time. You didn't need to force it.
Tough to see. All right, my third down, Herbert and Allen, 2 elite quarterbacks who seem to have lost who they are. They don't make a ton of sense. They're stumbling through games. They're not just making errors. It's the how timely and how unfortunate their errors are and how detrimental they are for their teams right now.
Yep. My third is the Deshaun Watson trade. The Browns traded a first-round pick in 22-3 for a third-round pick in 23, a fourth-round pick in 22, and a fourth-round pick in 24. In return, they got Deshaun Watson and the 6th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Deshaun Watson currently ranks 32nd in adjusted EPA, so expectations, yards per play. He's 32nd. The guy who's 33rd is his backup, PJ Walker. That's dead last. This trade may go down as worse than the Herschel Walker trade. We may call it the Deshaun Watson trade.
There you go. Congrats, Browns. All right, we'll be back after this where we put a little bow on today's Tuesday show. Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
No cap.
It's the Fan on demand.
I'm going to give it to you. Give it to me.
Service Patriots brings you Fan Podcast.
no longer be a party to their service.
Now, how did you send them the video?
Yes, I
You
did.
sent them the video.
I
and
told
they're
them
like,
I told them I have video if you want it.
Oh.
So I sent it to make sure it got out of our corporate account. I sent it to myself first, to my personal email, so I could send it to them. But yeah, I trimmed it up and even zoomed in a little bit on it for them.
The public has been waiting.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think that is a good person to be working for that company that provides you such great joy.
He
day
does,
in and day
yeah.
out.
It's
3 days a
at
week.
least three days a week. And like I said, everybody keeps asking what I ordered. Just a carne asada burrito. Nothing special. My chicken and rice place was not open. It's been 2 weeks now. 2 weeks now that they haven't been open.
Really?
Yeah, I guess they're doing some construction or something.
Yeah, that's usually what places say when they're shut down by the health department.
Hey, look, I don't care what's in it. It's tasty.
As long as it tastes good.
You've had it.
I know I have. My favorite place was one of my favorite restaurants used to like this was like years and years and years ago. Back in the day now. They used to cook like out in the parking lot.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, well, the health department did. And
what are we talking? Rio's ribs?
I was saying Rio's is out there out there.
No, that was a smoker, and that's different. That's like
what's the difference?
That the smoker's like enclosed, and this was seemingly an open air grill. They just had outdoors, which I didn't have a problem with. It was good.
Like if you get the barbecue going outside, and
Sometimes the sketchiest looking places are the best.
Honestly, if I'm looking for a good food place in a city that I haven't or that I'm new to, I look for the sketchy, divey looking place for good food.
I have judged people in my life that I'm like, hey, where's a good like barbecue joint at? And they'll be like, oh, go here. And then you show up and I'm like, this is
pristine,
way too clean.
Yeah.
No.
No,
And
I need
it's
to
always
see
like, okay.
Yeah. You need to see the grease